Those 6 state
Watching ABC News, and this is ABC Headlines. I am Jennifer Samoa. Coming up, incumbent MP for Wale Wale Hajia Lariba Zuwaritu has stepped down from the NPP primary rerun following the violence that disrupted the process on Monday 9 September 2024. Also, civil society organization is mounting pressure on the government to act with urgency to clamp down on Galamsey activities. Still to come, CTAC has expressed disgust over government silence on their migration after calling off strike. This and many more coming up. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is ABC Headlines. Now to our first story. Lariba Abudu, the Member of Parliament for Wale Wale, has announced her withdrawal from the New Patriotic Party primaries in the constituency. Her decision comes just ahead of a scheduled National Executive Committee meeting on September 11, 2024, which aims to address the situation. In a letter, the Wale Wale MP noted, following the inconclusive rerun of the parliamentary primary in the Wale Wale constituency yesterday, with the Electoral Commission unable to declare a result as a result of an unfortunate incident, I have decided that in the interest of the greater good of the New Patriotic Party and peace and unity in the Wale Wale constituency, I will no longer be a candidate for MP in the 2024 elections.
I think you know what is happening in Wale Wale constituency following the
inconclusive of yesterday's promise or rerun. And the EC was not able to declare a winner. So based on that, I've decided that I want to step down and will not go contest the seat again. I'm doing this for the sake of the greater New Patriotic Party and Walwale constituency. I'm doing this for the sake of unity, peace, love for the constituency. And I also want to urge the President and Vice President that I'm doing this for their sake. So I want to thank each and every one of you for always standing by me and always supporting me. I'm very happy, and I want to encourage each and everyone to take peace as a stepping stone and let us all come together, fight and win this seat for Ghana. I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Still on election-related issues, former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, says election officials involved in election offences deserve the harshest punishment and possible treason charges. According to Dr. Afari-Gyan, punishing offenders severely will help serve as a deterrent to others who plan to engage in election malpractices. Dr. Afari-Gyan, who was speaking at the Ghana Bar Association's annual conference in Kumasi on Tuesday, stressed that in a democratic election, the voter is preeminent and a valid vote is invaluable for determining the people's choices. For this reason, any act intended to manipulate or undermine the people's will, particularly by those employed to oversee the exercise, should be considered an act of treason.
Persons who commit serious election offenses, particularly if they are professional election officials or electronic experts, must be severely punished for attempting to undermine the will of the people. Possibly a treasonable act. Possibly. And I'm singling out here professional election administrators and electronic experts because they know exactly what they are doing. A voter may commit some infraction. That's no. The election official, by their training, they know what is the right thing to do. The electronic expert who is tampering with the figures knows exactly what he's doing. And these people, I'm suggesting, must be seriously punished.
Meanwhile, the former Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, has cautioned political parties participating in the December 7 elections to exercise patience when dealing with pink sheets during and after the polls, as they constitute the most important document in reconstructing election results. He urged political parties to take pink sheets seriously to avoid sending frivolous petitions to court.
Important, the only source documents for reconstructing election results. See, that's what we mean when we say elections are won or lost at the polling station. That's what it means. So my friendly advice to you is that if you don't have authentic, duly executed pink sheets, as we say in Ghana, please think twice before you go.
Still on election 2024, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODU, has urged media houses to avoid announcing election results before the Electoral Commission during the upcoming 2024 general elections. CODU emphasized the critical importance of preserving the integrity and credibility of the electoral process. Albert Ahen, National Coordinator of CODU, pointed out that premature announcements by media outlets could cause confusion and unrest among voters. He highlighted that although Okodio might have access to results before the official declaration, it refrains from making any announcements to adhere to proper protocol. The Electoral Commission has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring peaceful and fair elections in the upcoming December polls, stressing that its reputation is on the line. Dr. Eric Bosman Asare, Deputy Chairperson of the EC in charge of corporate services, assured the public of the Commission's dedication to maintaining the highest standards of electoral integrity. Dr. Asare emphasized that the EC and its officials are under scrutiny from both the country and the international community, and that failure is not an option. Away from that, to some issues of illegal mining, the running mate for Dr. Bawumia in the 2024 presidential elections, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has stated that Dr. Bawumia and the NPP will not ban small-scale mining should he be elected president on December 7, 2024. While on a campaign tour in the Asunafo South constituency of the Ahafo region, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh says Dr. Bawumia will not place a ban on small-scale mining. His comments come in the wake of calls for a ban on galamsey in the country amidst its devastating effect on water bodies and livelihood.
Small-scale follow, Omukoya Juma, Omunya Sikaba Krom, and the Miwari, and the Libo girls, and Toradie, and and this is for and small scale for Atuabamu, Amoma Winnie was Buisia was Oma Winnie sitting in Sia Ewasa, and then the Omsoba, the MPP for Antutu Amoma, Omo the children of Omo. Catch out this for and Tonade, a chat, and Tonade, and Tonade, and Tonade. You're too Mobi. Then you'll be excavator Bemano. Over for Edward or conscious in the Mabua. Obia Bako. Not from one for the Scandinavia, NDD, none one is Scandinavia, NDD, not from the next Scandinavia in Puntu, and then no credit, said Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Eba, Obegus was kill mining, and then no credit. Yes, see, the young pair, new appear this Shamfa day, or best is your show. Obia, obey no, say yes, or that's why you buying the enemy. Yet to check concession, Obia Benabia. Mr. Day, Obia Benabia, also Obia Day, also Obia Day, also Obia Tokotrum, no Kotojumana, a John Foreman's day. Aha.
On galamsey crisis, pressure is beginning to mount on the government as several groups are calling on the government to, as a matter of urgency, act swiftly to clamp down on galamsey activities. The Ghana Health Service is also calling on various authorities to step in as the activity is causing harm to unborn babies in mining areas. The Christian Council of Ghana, on the other hand, has added its voice to the increasing calls for a decisive and total ban on illegal mining activities. General Secretary of the Christian Council, Reverend Cyril Fayosi, said there is an existential threat posed by galamsey to Ghana's natural resources, especially its water bodies, farmlands and ecosystems. Also, civil society organization Occupy Ghana has called for amendments to Ghana's mining laws to criminalize the leasing of land for illegal mining. In a statement dated September 10, Occupy Ghana proposed that landowners should be held accountable for illegal mining activities on their property unless they can prove that their land was forcibly taken, supported by a contemporaneous report to the police. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has also asked that the practice be curtailed, or else there will be a food crisis, with mobile money operators urging the government to break the silence and act. Well, that is all for ABC Headlines. I am Jennifer Somoa. ABC in the Morning comes up shortly. Do stay with us.
Attention business owners, it's time to take your business to the next level with ABC News GH Television's mega promo. From August 1st to October 31st, 2024, we're offering you unbeatable deals to advertise your products and services. Don't miss out on this amazing chance to reach more people and grow your brand. For more details, give us a call on 050-993-0360. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Follow us on social media at ABC News GH _.
Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the 3rd season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054-955-4148 to register. Best Inventor.
Attention business owners, it's time to take your business to the next level with ABC News GH Television's mega promo. From August 1st to October 31st, 2024, we're offering you unbeatable deals to advertise your products and services. Don't miss out on this amazing chance to reach more people and grow your brand. For more details, give us a call on 050-993-0360. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Follow us on social media at ABC News GH _. Attention business owners, it's time to take your business to the next level with ABC News GH Television's mega promo. From August 1st to October 31st, 2024. We're offering you unbeatable deals to advertise your products and services. Don't miss out on this amazing chance to reach more people and grow your brand. For more details, give us a call on 050-993-0360. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Follow us on social media at abcnewsgh_.
Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the third season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054-955-4148 to register. Best
More. Our government will be the leanest, most efficient in the history of African politics. We present to you the apostolic governance, 1 president, 12 ministers. Create a lean government that will be responsible for the 12 pillars. Now let me start. I'm going to press this, like when you go into one of this, maybe we can press one of them, and let's pick one. I'll take you through a few of the ministerial mandates, because I think it's very important that you know what they have to do. So we start with Ministry of Finance. Over the years, there has been a lot of judgment debts, a lot of salary shortage, a lot of paying and paying and paying without returns. We realize that, not to put blames on anyone, that the Ministry of Finance is struggling. So our mandate is to make the Ministry of Finance become an investor and a developer for the nation building. It should be their responsibility. They should be accountable for it. You know, we want them to be able to go to the Sovereign Fund, the IMF, and ask for 10 billion for a project that would be supervised, monitored, controlled by us. Our investment going into industrial, going into commercial, going into retail, we should be a part of it, and we should control it. And there should be returns. We should not just use our Ministry of Finance for spending. The 12 ministries. I mean, apostolic governance, it's a title, it's some title right here, but it's the 12 ministries.
Exactly 6 months from now, this noble association will be celebrating its diamond anniversary. I don't have promises, but one thing I can assure this nation is that I have a purpose that will suit the citizens. of this nation. My first policy is to introduce industrial regional revolution. This would help us to achieve the middle income nation that we're trying to build. It's our second biggest priority to make sure that we create a sustainable technology hub in this country. I want the new Ghana to wake up about industrializing ourselves and building the things that will take care of the nation. The security of this country is very important, and we need to make sure that it's stabilized. Everybody is welcome to Africa, but nobody wants to help build Africa. We should now build our nations within Africa so the
Good morning, you're welcome to ABC in the morning. This happens to be your reliable guide when it comes to news, insights, and everything that you need to actually power you through your day. It's another lovely day. It's actually a midweek. Today is Wednesday, so you know that the weekend is fast approaching. For those of you looking forward to it, you're making plans and all those things. Yes, I mean, when you're making the plans, also count the cost to your pockets as well. And don't forget, Monday is always hiding around the corner, just looking at you with one eye. You think I'm not coming. I'm coming back for you very soon. So, well, you're welcome to ABC in the morning. I'm Epifani Anchokotokligui, and today we have an exciting lineup for you guys. I mean, it's going to be packed. We're bringing you serious discussions. We're bringing you, analytical. Basically, we're bringing analysts on board to come and look at some of the key things that matter. And we're in election season, so you definitely know that we're looking at things that are going to help you make the informed decision come December 7th. We'll bring you engaged in conversations and also the stories that matter. Basically, we're going to keep you informed and engaged, so please do stay with us. But as usual, let's begin with our quote for the day. And today, all we're trying to tell you is that progress is impossible without change. And for those who cannot change their minds, they cannot change anything. And it's just that simple. If you want to see progress in your life, you definitely have to change some things you're doing, because definitely you can't be doing the same thing over and over again and be expecting a different result. So you say, okay, fine. I don't like my current situation. I don't like what's currently happening to me. And I want to progress in life. I want to move forward. You probably have to start by looking at some of the habits you've formed, some, lifestyle choices or decisions that you're making for yourself. And if you're able to do that, you know that, okay, I need to change this, I need to change that, or I need to change so and so. So those are some of the key things that you need to know. Progress is definitely impossible without change. So if you're hoping to actually progress, then start putting in the right changes. And it could be a very little thing, as little as paying attention to your health. I mean, such as focusing on ensuring that you drink more water every day. It may be like, oh, that's trivial, but you don't take your health for granted. Just start building it today, and you definitely see the change and the progress as you keep it on it habitually. Well, for Front Story, would actually be exploring the Electoral Commission CI91. You've heard CI91? Yes, we've heard it. What exactly is it? We'll be looking at it here, and I won't be doing that alone. We'll actually be joined by a constitutional lawyer. He'll be helping us go through it, the breakdown. And this actually tying into, all the brouhaha surrounding the irregularities that the NDC has actually raised concerning the voters register, and the fact that they are calling for a forensic audit when it comes to the register. This is not going to be the first time. Don't forget, 2012 we had something similar. So we'll definitely be joined by a constitutional lawyer who's going to help us break it all down. And on Ghana Speaks, we're heading to Ayawaso West Vugon today, and we'll be giving you the people a platform to be able to assess the performance of your MPs. I mean, Charlie, election is here, and there's nothing you can do about it. Did they do what they say they will do? Have they actually done it? For those who are doing it, are you going to retain them, or are you going to vote them out? You know, so just tell us, okay, who brought more jobs? They constructed roads, they did this, they didn't do anything. Feel free. It's Ghana Speaks. This is where you get a chance to tell us what is in your heart. You know, you share the issues that matter basically to you with us, and we give you the platform for that. Now, we'll also be focusing on election security when it comes to our main discussion, because it's one of the key things. If you've been following, you know, the NPP's Wale Wale primary, so you realize that this is a very, very important thing to look at. And we're asking the huge question: is it time to consider alternative dispute resolution mechanisms when it comes to our elections? So we'll be discussing that as well when it comes to our main discussion. Now, we will also be discussing the role of unions when it comes to the fight against Galamsey. Please, if you've still not joined the train that is literally heading straight and just chanting that we need government to put their best foot forward when it comes to just eradicating Galamsey, then I don't think you're in the country. So basically, we have unions actually calling on government, and you say, oh, really? Yes, we have a couple of unions. I'll be giving you the list of them, and then we'll be speaking to some key people from some of these unions, some of their reps, and then get to understand that, okay, someone is thinking, union and Galamsey, how are you related? You know, like union, Galamsey, how do you guys meet in the middle? So we'll definitely try and connect the dots for you right here on ABC in the morning. We'll definitely also bring you on politics today. We'll analyze the latest poll from Global Info Analytics. I mean, it's pointing, some of them are pointing to the likelihood of a runoff in the upcoming elections. I mean, this is going to happen, is it not going to happen? But we're literally breaking down the whole poll that they recently conducted. So we'll also have somebody to talk to that on it. And then on Business Fix, we'll assess the outlook of the local currency as we're actually approaching the election season and the festive period. You know, people are going to start shopping. We're in September, October, November. See, you don't go shopping in December. You don't go to the market in December. You buy the things down before December. So people have started hitting the market to purchase everything they need. And some parents actually use this as a period to go and purchase the books for their students. So we'll definitely be looking at that when it comes to the Business Fix. We'll bring you the latest sports update, we'll bring you what's trending on social media, you know, and also the world of entertainment. And finally, for our exclusive interview, we'll actually be sitting down and speaking to a rep from Kodak Tech, and they'll be letting us know about their latest innovations and also their contributions to the tech space. Please don't forget, you can get all this and more right here on the show. So you have to stay connected with us on social media. Follow us on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, and TikTok. All of them at ABC News GH_. We're going to make today productive, insightful, and definitely it's going to be right here on ABC in the morning. in our front story today, we're focusing on one of the most crucial aspects of our democracy. We're looking at the accuracy and the integrity of the voter register. Now, as the 2024 general elections are approaching, the voter register plays a very key role, a very pivotal one actually, in ensuring that there's going to be a free and fair process. But the questions people are asking, what actually happens, basically when there are discrepancies in the register? We'll be delving into the Electoral Commission CI 91. Specifically, we'll be looking at regulations 23, 26, 4, and then also 27, 4. And basically, these are the ones that are governing the exhibition of the voters register, the legal framework for addressing irregularities. We'll also be analyzing the NDC's ongoing dialogue with the Electoral Commission, their demands, and basically, we're comparing them to similar concerns that were raised back in 2012. But to help us unpack all of these things, we're actually being joined via Zoom by a constitutional lawyer, Mr. Kwame Adofo, who's going to provide expert insights into this. Good morning, sir. You're welcome to ABC News in the Morning.
Good morning.
Well, it's good to have you. Mr. Adofo, I want to find out very quickly, can you walk us through the legal framework of the Regulation 23 and the CI 91?
Let me say good morning to you again and your viewers and your listeners. In terms of the law, there was a proposal by the EC previously to do. I hope the background it's okay.
Yes, the background, but then if you could please position yourself a little so we can clearly see you.
Okay, because we are at the KNUST where lawyers are having a bar conference. So I don't know if you can tell me where, whilst I'm turning around, which one is better? Is this one better? Or?
I think this, yes, we can see you.
Well, the EC proposed initially to make the Ghana card the sole form of ID for anybody who was intending to register. And that was the basis of the amendment that is sought to do or is set to implement. And the Parliament did not accept some of the proposal, for example, where it was going to make the Ghana card the sole requirement or sole ID to use. Now, we have now, or the Parliament has now passed the law where one can use a passport as a form of identification, a card issued by the NIA as a form of identification, as well as the usual people signing for somebody who is already a registered member voter can now sign for up to 10 people. So that is the current position of the law, that where one does not have a Ghana passport or one does not have a NIA card, then that person can get people to nominate him as a person who is qualified, meaning being a qualified citizen to vote in an election. So it is no longer the NIA card being the sole requirement. Now, if you do have a Ghana card, if you do have a Ghana passport, or in the alternative, you can get people to nominate you by swearing that you are actually a Ghanaian citizen and you are qualified to be on the voters register.
You're going to ran our audience through the CI-91. But I mean, before we let you go, you recently are aware of the issues, the concerns that have been raised by the opposition, NDC, talking about the irregularities and also some discrepancies in the current register. And they're actually calling for a forensic audit to be done on it. But we're definitely looking at this as like more like back and forth. And recently, they've actually said they're going to go on a nationwide protest. I mean, if that does not happen, with the concerns that they're raising over the omission and other irregularities, which they've actually had the EC come admit some, how effective is the current process that has been outlined in the CI for addressing such an issue?
Look, it is important that we take every concern of any heart who is an interested party seriously. I have actually taken my time to look at the concerns being expressed by the NDC. Essentially, they seem to be saying that there's a discrepancy between the voters' register that was displayed for all of us to go and check our names in there and the ones that were given to them. That's one of them. But of critical importance in the allegations being made by the NDC is that there are some missing names on the register. That, if it's true, it's a very serious matter that should be taken into consideration, in the sense that could you imagine that you go on December 7th to go and vote, and when you get there, you find that your name that you always knew was on the register is no longer in the register? Additionally, could you imagine that you go there, let's say you vote at polling station A at suburb A. You go there and your name is transferred without you being aware to a different region, for example. You can see that that in itself will be a source of concern. It can potentially disenfranchise a whole lot of people. That, if it's true, it's worrying and it cannot be allowed to stand. Yesterday, we had an opportunity in our conference, the bar conference, of having the former EC, Mr. Afrejan, addressing us here, all the lawyers, inclusive NDC MPP, the so-called identifiable groups. And he said, election, as always, is a process. It's not just one event. Start from the register, then today, voting, and then after voting, they are all part of the election process. Now, in his view, where there is a possibility of stealing an election is at the tabulation stage, where people have voted red and the numbers, in counting the numbers, if the number is 2, somebody can potentially write 0 next to it. That becomes 20. It says that's where there's a possibility of stealing an election. However, in terms of names alone being transferred, it only goes to the extent of disenfranchising citizens. But it doesn't go to the extent of stealing an election. I don't know if you understand the distinction, in the sense that when you disenfranchise a voter, you don't know where the voter would have otherwise voted, whether he would have voted for party A or he would have voted for party B. So in essence, what that does is you disable the person from voting, from exercising his right. But you are not in a position to determine which way he would have voted. Now, that is where he contrasted that with the stealing of the election itself. He says the stealing of an election, which is the will of the people, can only occur where we have finished voting and we are tabulating the figures, where we are adding 1 + 1, and then somebody will write 4, and so on. So that's where the stealing comes in. So now, if we bring it back to the NDC's concern, now, the NDC concern, you can see from the outline that I have drawn, that if somebody's name is missing on the register, now potentially the results of that will be that you are disenfranchising the person.
And you,
but not. Sorry?
No, we're listening, sir.
Yeah, you are disenfranchising the person, but not necessarily stealing the election. So that's the difference. You are disenfranchising someone, meaning you are stopping or you are making it, disabling somebody's right to vote. However, in terms of stealing election for party A or party B, that is determined from after voting, and we are counting or we are tabulating the figures. That's where the stealing comes in. And you know, it's a process. So yes, I understand the position expressed by the NDC. However, that in itself does not amount to stealing an election in favor of any party. So yesterday was a discussion, it was an interesting forum where people said, if that is the case, then there was no basis for the demonstration, because even if there was a mistake, it can be rectified anyway. It's just, and so far, people who went to verify their names, we have not seen anybody or heard anybody complaining that his name was not there. If that is the case, then it's just a question of showing the EC, the register which you say is correct, and that which you say is omitted, and doing a reconciliation. And I think that's something that came up yesterday. You know, it was interesting in that, you know, we are all lawyers, but to get the perspective of the electoral process, it was important that we get somebody like the former EC chair, Dr. Afarijan, who came and explained it to us. So we now know that election is won and lost, just as they say at the polling station. But in fact, more importantly, it is in the tabulation time where they are adding up the figures. That's when election can be stolen, but not necessarily the register per se. Because the register, all that does is that on the polling day, your polling agent will be there, my polling agent will be there. They will make sure that people who are required to vote will vote. So if it's 30 people on the register and 20 people votes, it means I have to make sure that the 20 is correctly recorded. And once that is correctly recorded, nobody can then steal the election. I think that's the sense what it means. So drawing an inference from that, then it means the so-called demonstration by the NDC is not really necessary.
Okay, well, in light of that, I quickly want us to actually take a listen to the concerns that were raised by the NDC.
Enumerate here, and you, the media people, were with some of our people who intercepted and retrieved one of the stolen DVDs. So far, we don't have any response. We don't have any feedback as to how the progress is being made on the case involving those who allegedly have been arrested here at your commission and so on. This all generates some amount of, cloud suspicion and all that. And so, those of you who have been asking us, if they don't comply, what will you do? This is your answer. On the 17th of this month, the NDC is embarking on a massive nationwide demonstration in all 16 regional capitals. Descend on the Electoral Commission offices, and we in Accra will descend to the headquarters and present further petitions as to what
voters register no buy no. Enyoma bebree atosin e wo register no. Na say pese abato no ekoyie na asumdwe etna Ghana na e wo say Electoral Commission sorry eye omodwuma yie. E wo say omohwe sa register no yie na enyoma enye e wo register no mu omohwe no mu siesie ne ntem ansani ato aba. Nti NDC there your chairman ene wa announce say yebeye oyekire bebia Electoral Commission office will be a district office sa krodia no NDC for sa da no yebehye entade na yɛ demonstration akɔ hɔ sɛ yɛkyerɛ ɔmo adwene sɛ register no ɔmo nsɔre ɛnyɛ ho bibi. Nti on the 17th of this month, NDC is going to demonstrate in every town that has an EC office. Our chairman has announced it. NDC, you wear your T-shirt and you go and demonstrate to the EC office so that we can put pressure on them to do their job and do what they have to do in order to ensure peaceful and transparent elections.
Well, you just had the concerns. Now we heard from the national chairman or also the flag bearer. But I mean, before we go back to talk to Kwame, we'll definitely be looking at, you know, the CI 91. So let's take a look at the breakdown of it. You've heard CI 91. Basically, what is it? And, you know, what are the overview, the regulations that comes through it? So basically, the CI 91, this is under it, we have the exhibition of voters register. And for the exhibition of voters register, basically what is stipulated is that the display of the provisional register is conducted in accordance with regulation 23(1) of CI 91, and this is going to take place at all polling stations. So it's going to be during the exhibition period. The registers will be placed at centers for voters to verify their details as captured during the registration exercise. Also, if you're looking at the legal framework that governs the CI 91 by regulation 23 of it, the first one deals with the compilation of provisional voters register, and it says that the commission shall not later than 3 months from the end of the registration period compile and display the provisional voters register in the country, stating the name, age, sex and residential address, and showing the photograph of each person whose application for registration was accepted at a registration center. I'm emphasizing on the not later than 3 months, because earlier I remember there was a time when the NDC was calling for the voter exhibition and thing, and then I mean the EC came to say they are still within the stipulated time frame. So that's why I'm emphasizing on not later than 3 months. Now, if you're moving on, you realize that it says during the exhibition period, voters can request corrections as well. So it says the display of the provisional voters register usually takes place at the polling stations. It's designated as an exhibition center. For those of you that are wondering, okay, usually if you're in your neighborhood and they're doing this, you realize they actually paste these signs, these posters, and then they have a hand that is actually directing you, saying that exhibition center, exhibition center. So if you look around your neighborhood, recently they had one just last month. You see that they've pasted those stickers around the neighborhood. So it says exhibition center, directing to where they're actually doing the exhibition. And then the requests that can actually be made at the exhibition centers include the request which is from you, the person going to check your details, you the one who has registered. The request you can actually make at these exhibition centers include the inclusion of omitted names. So probably, let's say you're called Joan Abna Mante. For example, they've taken the Mante or they've taken the Abna out, and you want them to actually include it. So you can go and let them include that name that was omitted. Also, for example, the next one is objection to names of deceased voters on the register. So if you have, basically people who deceased, people who are dead, and then they have their names still in the register, but probably they've not been informed that, oh, this person within the last time we did the registration or last time they voted till now, probably they died, something happened. They have not got that information. They've not been updated. So you go and check and realize that, oh, my mom is dead or my dad is dead, but then their name is still in the register. So this is when you actually object that their names need to be taken out because they've actually passed on. Also, the replacement of poor quality or damaged voter ID cards. Some people don't keep their ID cards well. Sometimes, unfortunately, by no fault of yours, probably it drops in water, liquid. It's just not in the best of shapes, and you want it to be changed. Sometimes it's just because, okay, the quality is not good. I can't look at your ID card and tell that, it's the same person. No, it's not for you. So basically, you can go and let them know that, look, I need a replacement for this because it has poor quality now. It's damaged, and then, I mean, using this is not going to help. Also, you can also request for a change of names. So maybe you were called so and so 4 years ago, and take, for example, you got married or something, and so your surname or your last name has actually changed, and now you want them to change that name. So you can also go and do that. All of these things can be done during the exhibition. And then also the change of wrong registration center codes. Some people don't take note of this at all. You don't even know the center code for where you're actually registering, where you go and register, where you go and vote. You have no idea of the center code. So these things play a key role. So you're supposed to go and check. So, okay, this is a center code for this place. I registered here. This is a center code. But the one on my card is actually different. So that you can actually go and then let them do that and change it for you. And then also, you're looking at this regulation, still to Regulation 23 of CI 91. All this falls under the legal framework. Now, all requests that are made at the exhibition centers will be recorded on the Commission's certified exhibition forms. When you are saying, oh, change this, do this, take this person out, you see them writing. What they're writing, that's basically what they call their certified exhibition forms, and then their provisional register. Now, at the close of the exhibition period, which is the time frame they give, maybe for a week or a number of days, when they are done, the completed exhibition forms and the provisional registers are within 3 days. Within 3 days, they actually send it to the district office of the Commission. So basically, they are going there to go and process it. But this is only done after a determination has been made by the district registration review officer, and then is updated for the production of the final voters register. So all the changes you requested, replacement, the omission, all those things that you've done is going to be sent. Now, within 3 days, it's actually sent there, and then also based on the determination of the district registration review officer, it's going to be updated. Now, if we're going to Regulation 26(4) of the CI 91, you realize it says that the district registration review officer, which is basically also known as DRRO, he's a lawyer of not less than 3 years standing. Basically, somebody who has practiced. He didn't become a lawyer in a year or two and then he's the DRO. No, he should have practiced for 3 years. Preferably, he's supposed to be a resident in the district of the district magistrate, so he can determine the procedures for settling the claims and then objections and making a decision. When he's familiar with the terrain, it becomes easy to be able to handle the issues and settle some of the claims. Now, for Regulation 26(7) of CI 91, you realize that the Electoral Commission shall give effect to the decision of the DRRO within 14 days after the person making the claim has been informed. So you'll be informed, okay, these are the changes you requested. We've actually, now within 14 days, 2 weeks, they will give effect to those changes and you will see it. And then an appeal against the decision of the DRRO could actually be sent to the High Court. So basically, this is the whole thing. This is the overview of CI 91. So the question now a lot of people are actually asking themselves, and you know, we're key on these things. That now, before I move on to the key question people are asking themselves, for registers and the lists that are being displayed during the exhibition period, the two key lists, we have the exceptions list. Now, this list contains the names of registered voters who have been excluded from the provisional register on grounds of disqualification, registration outside the stipulated time. Some people never go register on time. And sometimes due to one or two things, they are disqualified. And then also you come back and the last list is the multiple registration list. So this list contains the names and photographs of persons who have registered more than once. Sometimes it's technical stuff. So you go and register here. If like, oh, okay, well, there's a technical issue, so we're not able to get it. So then it's like, it didn't. Then later, you do it again, and then now you go and realize that, okay, we've got the persons, we've actually captured your name twice. So basically, it's multiple registration. So these two lists, the exception list and the multiple registration list, are displayed during the period. So you have to go, if you have to effect changes, you have to look at things, you have to let them change names or omit people's names from it. You actually have to look at it. Now, the key question that we're asking after going through all of this is that has the NDC exhausted all these avenues? Has the NDC gone through all these appropriate channels? Have they exhausted? I mean, looking at the time frame that have been stipulated within their legal rights, do they need to be, basically people are saying, I mean, we have word on the streets, it's more like the NDC have EC by the balls, or they're trying to be what you call the big baby. So it's like EC has to go by what they're saying or do what they're actually demanding. I mean, I told you earlier that to help us break this down, we have Mr. Kwame Adolfo. We spoke to him earlier before we went to actually take a breakdown of CI 91. We still have him on the line. But Mr. Kwame, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you for having me back.
I want to find out, looking at everything that the CI 91 states, has the NDC exhausted all the avenues to address these irregularities they're actually pushing out there?
Look, I will always fall back on what Dr. Afari-Gyan told us yesterday. He says that we should not entirely dismiss anybody who has concerns. However, when somebody has concerns, it must be in line with the law. What does the law say? Now, as you correctly listed them, clearly the law makes provisions for their concerns to be addressed. And it must therefore follow that the so-called demonstration, it's not really necessary. It was an issue. It was very topical yesterday for us in the Great Hall of KNUST. This same issue was one of the topics that he came and explained it to us. You see, a party or an interested person or interested party cannot demand the EC to do things that makes them happy. All they can do is to demand that the AEC go by the law. Full stop. And the law, as you have clearly enumerated, is the provisions which was passed by the parliament of this country. The only body with the right to make laws. And you can therefore say that clearly in the circumstances, NDC has not exhausted all the legal framework or the steps that is required of them. And it means that even after this demonstration, which they are entitled to in a developing and civilized society, they are entitled to demonstration. But is it going to achieve anything outside the law? The answer is no, because the EC will be taken immediately to court if it is to succumb, so to speak, to any demands which is not set out in the law. So, again, from conclusions reached yesterday, I am of the view that this demonstration is not necessary because there are legal avenues clearly set out, and with able assistance of yourself, you read it to us. And, because I'm at KNUST, I don't have all of that with me here. But you can clearly see that the NDC has not exhausted all the processes that they are entitled to. And therefore, it is not necessary for them to go on this demonstration. Of course, they are still entitled to, in a democratic environment, to do whatever they want in line with the law. So if they want to still go to the demonstration, fine. But in terms of any achievements at the end of this demonstration, I think the answer is no. They will not achieve anything.
Well, thank you so much for your time with us, Mr. Kwame Adolfo. He happens to be a constitutional lawyer, and we're basically breaking down and looking at CI 91, basically Regulation 23. We also have Regulation 26.4, and then also we literally looked at all these things in light of, the key issues that the NDC have been raising about the irregularities with the current voter register, they embarking on a nationwide protest, and all these key things. Well, we still have more for you here on ABC in the morning, but then let's go get some things from the world of sports. Let's find the latest happenings when it comes to sports. I mean, we still know that we're in the football season, because those of you that are keenly supporting your teams and, following them, hoping that they're going to carry the cap. But let's find out what Godwin has for us in the world of sports.
August 1949, Sajifo Dr. Nkrumah established the Ghana Journalists Association. Exactly 6 months from now, this noble association will be celebrating its diamond anniversary. I don't have promises, but one thing I can assure this nation is that I have a purpose that will suit the citizens of this nation. My first policy is to introduce industrial regional revolution. This would help us to achieve the middle income nation that we're trying to build. It's our second biggest priority to make sure that we create a sustainable technology hub in this country. I want the new Ghana to wake up about industrializing ourselves and building the things that will take care of the nation. The security of this country is very important, and we need to make sure that it's stabilized. Everybody is welcome to Africa, but nobody wants to help build Africa. We should now build our nations within Africa so the youth who are in Africa will start to gain value from their own resources. These resources belong to us. Transportation or logistics is one of the most important things that creates speed in development. I don't see why we're in 2024 and the only way of transporting goods in our country is by road. You can't even put anything on any water, and you can't move containers by railways. We're here to create a better life for our people. We have the biggest young population and they depend on technology. And if we want to build a future for Ghana, we should remember that the future of Ghana will depend on the youth. This is what I stand for, a unifier between the government, the public, and the youth. Look, I just know that president cannot happen without the press. But if I'm here to do the duties of the president, it's because I feel like Ghana needs development.
Embrace the new force.
In August 1949, Sajifo Dr. Nkrumah established the Ghana Journalists Association. Exactly 6 months from now, this noble association will be celebrating its diamond anniversary. I don't have promises, but one thing I can assure this nation is that I have a purpose that will suit the citizens of this nation. My first policy is to introduce industrial regional revolution. This would help us to achieve the middle income nation that we're trying to build. It's our second biggest priority to make sure that we create a sustainable technology hub in this country. I want the new Ghana to wake up about industrializing ourselves and building the things that will take care of the nation. The security of this country is very important, and we need to make sure that it's stabilized. Everybody is welcome to Africa, but nobody wants to help build Africa. We should now build our nations within Africa so the youth who are in Africa will start to gain value from their own resources. These resources belong to us. Transportation or logistics is one of the most important things that creates speed in development. I don't see why we're in 2024 and the only way of transporting goods in our country is by road. You can't even put anything on any water, and you can't move containers by railways. We're here to create a better life for our people. We have the biggest young population and they depend on technology. And if we want to build a future for Ghana, we should remember that the future of Ghana will depend on the youth. This is what I stand for, a unifier between the government, the public, and the youth. Look, I just know that president cannot happen without the press. But if I'm here to do the duties of the president, it's because I feel like Ghana needs development.
Embrace the new force.
In August 1949, Sajifo Dr. Nkrumah established the Ghana Journalists Association. Exactly 6 months from now, this noble association will be celebrating its diamond anniversary. I don't have promises, but one thing I can assure this nation is that I have a purpose that will suit the citizens of this nation. My first policy is to introduce industrial regional revolution. This would help us to achieve the middle income nation that we're trying to build. It's our second biggest priority to make sure that we create a sustainable technology hub in this country. I want the new Ghana to wake up about industrializing ourselves and building the things that will take care of the nation. The security of this country is very important, and we need to make sure that it's stabilized. Everybody is welcome to Africa, but nobody wants to help build Africa. We should now build our nations within Africa so the youth who are in Africa will start to gain value from their own resources. These resources belong to us. Transportation or logistics is one of the most important things that creates speed in development. I don't see why we're in 2024 and the only way of transporting goods in our country is by road. You can't even put anything on any water, and you can't move containers by railways. We're here to create a better life for our people. We have the biggest young population and they depend on technology. And if we want to build a future for Ghana, we should remember that the future of Ghana will depend on the youth. This is what I stand for, a unifier between the government, the public, and the youth. Look, I just know that president cannot happen without the press. But if I'm here to do the duties of the president, it's because I feel like Ghana needs development.
Embrace the new force.
In August 1949, Sajifo Dr. Nkrumah established the Ghana Journalists Association. Exactly 6 months from now, this noble association will be celebrating its diamond anniversary. I don't have promises, but one thing I can assure this nation is that I have a purpose that will suit the citizens of this nation. My first policy is to introduce industrial regional revolution. This would help us to achieve the middle income nation that we're trying to build. It's our second biggest priority to make sure that we create a sustainable technology hub in this country. I want the new Ghana to wake up about industrializing ourselves and building the things that will take care of the nation. The security of this country is very important, and we need to make sure that it's stabilized. Everybody is welcome to Africa, but nobody wants to help build Africa. We should now build our nations within Africa so the youth who are in Africa will start to gain value from their own resources. These resources belong to us. Transportation or logistics is one of the most important things that creates speed.
that are happening across the various news portals online. So we're heading straight to graphic.com, and some of the stories making the headlines: the lawyer shortage hits legal aid. Lawyer shortage hits legal aid. Anguish as dozens die in Senegal shipwreck. Now deal with errant election officials, Afarijan. We also have turn on the street lights to save lives. Judge appeals. Turn on the street light to save lives. Judge appeals. For the greater good of NPP and peace, unity in Wale Wale, I will no longer be a candidate for the NPP. Also, we have illuminate our highways to save lives. Judge appeals. Election tampering by officials should be considered treason. Afarijan. We also have Black Stars coach Otoado disappointed with Niger draw. Eyes crucial win against Sudan. NDC's proposal for agro-processing zones, pathway to industrialization. President Akufo-Addo defends free SHS. We also have Domahene gives government ultimatum to halt Galamsey. The Ghana National Fire Service condemns assaults on firefighters. And I heard clearly from God before divorcing my husband, Ohima Mercy. Now moving away from graphic.com, going straight to City Newsroom, we actually have, I'm not affiliated to any political party. I'm not affiliated to any political party. That's by Asamoah Gyan. Vote for me if you want your children to travel to US for 2026 World Cup. Pius Hadzide. And yes, he's saying vote for me if you want your children to travel to US for 2026 World Cup. Ban Galamsey until sustainable solutions are found. Christian Council. Ablakwa establishes 100,000 Ghana cedi rent fund to support Akosombo Dam spillage victims. We also have Akufo-Addo must be held accountable for failed Galamsey fight. Nkwanta North MP. Anybody who causes trouble will be dealt with. Napo. Our reputation is on the line. We're committed to peaceful, fair elections. EC. And don't announce election results ahead of EC. Codeo 2 Media. Yes, so moving away from City Newsroom to My Joy Online, some of the key stories that are making the headlines. I'm no longer a politician, Asamoah Gyan denounces NPP. I'm no longer a politician, Asamoah Gyan denounces NPP. Declaring results ahead of EC unnecessary. Codeo 2 Media. Don't demand certificates from youth before offering them jobs. This from Chief to Mahama. Wale Wale MP Lariba Abudu pulls out of NPP primaries, and a credible voter register is the bedrock of democracy. This said by NDC's Hanko Computer. Now, Minerals Commission deletes critical information about mining companies after the Fourth Estate revelations. We have civil disobedience may force government to act. NAST UTAG. 4 arrested in connection with violent Oyarifa attack. Reduce mistrust and build confidence in the Electoral Commission, Antihine tells parties. Alan Tremontaine files nomination today. A new dawn for Ghanaian youth. The question that they're putting out there. Also, election tampering by officials should be considered treason, Afarijan. These are some of the key stories making the headlines on My Joy Online. And on to starfm.com, we have Majan quits politics to focus on youth empowerment. We also have Ghanaian students in UK sacked. Take steps to correct the wrongs. A pact to government. UNOWAS calls on government to take action on Galamsey menace. Police arrest 4 persons in connection with violent attack at Oyarifa. Apa Manyakrobo seat will never return to NPP. That was by Tete Nyako. And finally, moving away from that to Ghana, where we have Sevakai explains Akufo-Addo's silence on Galamsey. We also have Alan Tremontaine's top 10-point plan for youth empowerment, a future full of opportunities. And then there's a flashback story on the story behind the formation of the first Ghanaian-owned bank. Social media users divided over Samuajan's decision to resign from NPP. Well, these are some of the key stories making the headlines on Ghana Web. And finally, on to modern Ghana. We also have Alan files nomination today. Dr. Duchum files to contend. Dampai PWDs reject 50 people, and Cocoa Board addresses misreports. Well, these are some of the key stories making the headlines across the various news portals. I mentioned earlier that we're going for entertainment, trends, also sports, and then some tech trip. And my colleague Godwin is ready, so he's going to take us into the world of sports. Hi, Godwin.
Hello, Epiphania.
So you're ready to tell us what's happening latest in the world of sports?
Yes, I am ready to give you all the latest you need to know.
So before you actually give us the sports, just tell us what's shaking tables when it comes to social media.
Well, today there are a lot of things trending, but I will take our viewers through the top 3 trends that we have, where Asamoah is trending, Donald Trump and the U.S. presidential debate is trending, and also we have Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia trending. And we will also take our viewers through another interactive and most intuitive update from Google that is coming in. That is, Google is set to also delete some dormant accounts just to free space. So we will take our viewers through all this in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So heading straight into it, Asamoah is trending, and just like you were mentioning in the headlines recently, you said he said he's no more associated with politics. He's now focusing on the NGO and then charities that he's been embarking on. So he posted on his Twitter page, and he said, "I haven't been fair to the youth and the people of Ghana. Henceforth, I am not affiliated to any political party. I will continue with my humanitarian work and help the youth of Ghana in my own small way. Nothing political. I wish all the political parties a peaceful election on the 7th December. God bless our homeland, Ghana." And at the back of this, when he said he made this post, our viewers, Twitter followers and viewers also said, "The center cannot hold in the NPP. When defeat looms large, everything becomes nonsense and meaningless. Asamoah is the latest to denounce and reject the NPP. He simply dropped Timothy Dr. Bawumia with a laughing emoji. Congratulations in advance to Mahama, the president of Ghana. That one came from Genuine. Then we have someone, Citizen Tech. He said, so nobody wants to associate with NPP again. Oh, Asamoah, chair of sports, NPP Manifesto Committee says he can't continue again. And then we go to Indos TV. Indos TV also said, Asamoah dissociates himself from any political affiliation ahead of 2024 elections. And he continued to clarify that I haven't been fair to the youth and the people of Ghana. Henceforth, I am not affiliated to any political party. I will continue with my humanitarian work. And further, we went to the US presidential debate that happened last night. It happened overnight, and it was between the Republican candidate, former President Donald Trump, and the Democrat candidate, Vice President of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris. And what we have here is one Rohit Tak. He says, Trump has got all jokes. His quick wit stole the show, calling Kamala to wake Biden. The next level humor right there, with a laughing emoji. And also, we have Sadi People. Sadi People also said, Trump looks too old, with an image showing Trump's old image. He said, Trump looks too old. Trump is unfit for office. And he said, Harris was 2024 in landslide. That's him predicting a landslide victory for the Democrat Party. And we also have Trampo of Doom. He says they are eating the dogs. Actually, that one is a comment that was passed by Donald Trump when he was addressing something in relation to what Kamala Harris said. And he said, this will go down as the most idiotic moment in presidential debate story. Then we have Krista. Krista retweeted a Lincoln Project tweet. And that tweet was, who could watch this and think this guy is fit for office? Then Krista's comment was, Trump is unfit for office. And also, we have another trends about the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. But before then, let's go to what one Krobia Asante. He's been an active NPP advocate on the Twitter space. He said, but what has Asamoah said that is new? This has been his thing, even when he's giving the mic at the Greater Accra Youth Connect. He said same that he's not affiliated to NPP, but was invited to a member of the sports committee. So he obliged, even when any party wants his help, he will make himself available. He has just put it on paper now. Let's focus. Now that has been his philosophy throughout. Then we go to the last trend that we have, which is Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And here we have Rauf Abdul Ibrahim, Rauf said, this is the state of the art pitch constructed by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in Wali Wali under the Zongo Development Fund. And there is an image of the facility there. And he continued to say, the Wali Wali AstroTurf is the first ever AstroTurf in the region. Dr. Bawumia's commitment to promoting sports development in Ghana, particularly in the north, is unmatched. We also have Mr. Dakun. Mr. Dakun have a video of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia playing tennis, table tennis. And he wrote, the man labeled as the best to lead. The Dr. Bawumia showing his table tennis skills. We also have Charles Oredu. Charles Oredu said, I interacted with the people of Nkwantin, reminding them of Dr. Bawumia and the NHIS. Dr. Bawumia will place job creation for the youth as he prioritized in his next government. Their response was an overwhelming, it is possible. Yeah, that's how he wrote it. The only reason the NDC is engaging in a fishing expedition under the subterfuge of demonstrating against a perceived voter register disintegrity is that Dr. Bawumia has had the convention bounce, and this is the only mean to rally their base ahead of the election. Yeah, that's what we have for that. And we have Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. He has been a member of the NDC for quite some time now. He said, if you want an example of what a shambles Bawumia's leadership is, just look at his inability to resolve a dispute between his aide and his sister in Wale Wale, leading to two violent and inconclusive parliamentary primaries. And we have JN. JN is also saying the NDC has nothing to offer. Dr. Bawumia is the one to lead, and he is the next to solve our problems. Now, let's move on to TechTrick, where I mentioned earlier that Google has announced they are about to delete some dormant accounts. So the dormant accounts that Google is talking about is accounts that have been unused or inactive for 2 years. So based on the criteria that Google is using, he said he is going to delete accounts that are inactive for 2 years. 2 years, sorry. And there are 3 steps that you can take to also recover your account if it has been inactive for a while. So based on what Google said, it says towards the end of January, there was a mail that someone had not used his account for 8 months and would be deleted on September 20, along with any Gmail, photos, and docs content. Despite the deadline drawing near, nobody is panicked or disturbed. But Google says a Google account gives you Google-wide access to most Google products, such as Google Ads, Gmail, and YouTube, using the same username and password. And under Google's policies, and it says an inactive Google account is an account that has not been used within a 2-year period. Google reserves the right to delete an account that has been inactive and its activity and data is across Google for at least 2 years. This policy applies to personal Google accounts. The policy doesn't apply to any Google account that was set for you through your work, school, or other organization. Google also reserves the right to delete data in a product if you are inactive in that product for at least 2 years. This is determined based on each product's activity policy. So Google gave some 3 steps that you can follow to renew your Google account if it has been inactive. And the main steps are: 1, you have to read or send an email if your account has not been active for a while. And the second one is share a photo or watch a YouTube video while signed into the relevant Google account. And the last one is use Google Drive or search. So use your Google account to do a search if it has been inactive for more than 2 years or for even less than a year. You have to still touch it, so Google don't delete it from you. And now we are heading straight into the world of sports. So in sports today, we have the former Black Stars player Emmanuel Agyemang-Badu. we all remember Ajiman Bedu, who has been a star for Black Stars since 2009, when the under-20 went to win the under-20 World Cup for Ghana. He said Ghana is on a path that is wrong under Coach Otto Addo. So Ajiman Bedu says, concerns after the failed win to our first 2 AFCON games, that is our defeat to Angola in Baba Yara and our draw to Niger, we drew to Niger in Morocco. That has made us have a stalemate on the table with 1 point, and we are yet to face Coach Akwesi Appiah, who now manages Sudan. And Coach Otto Addo said yesterday that right now he's unfazed and he's sure Black Stars will beat Sudan and qualify for the AFCON. But Ajiman Bedu is saying he don't think where we are going is the right direction. We used to reach the finals, and now we are getting eliminated in the group stage. At the moment, we are struggling to even qualify from our group. Things are getting tougher for us, he added. And Ghana aims to revive our AFCON qualification hopes in October with a critical double header against Coach Akwesi Appiah's Sudan. So that is all we have in sports for today. We hand over to studio for the next segments.
Well, thank you so much, Godwin. Very interesting things that, you have shared with us, cutting across. But I think the last thing I just want to touch briefly on has to do with, the disappointment when it comes to the performance of the Black Stars. I know a lot of people are not really happy about it. The fans, it's like a candle right now. The love, the support is kind of flickering because, whoa, we're expecting to see them qualify, and then it happens the first time it happens. Yeah, so I'm sure definitely the coach and their technical team are definitely working towards that. As he also said, he's looking at a crucial win against Sudan. So let's see how that is going to go. But let's move away from sports and move straight into some money matters. I'm talking about business fix, and Abner would definitely be bringing us that. The decisions you need to hear to make the right decisions when it comes to your money issues. Let's find out what the people have to say on the issues that are actually affecting them mainly. I'm talking about Ghana Speaks.
Times are hard in Ghana, extremely hard.
As we gear towards the 2024 general elections, there have been conversations around having a presidential debate. Will it happen or not? This is Ghana Speaks.
Times are hard in Ghana, extremely hard.
As we gear towards the 2024 general elections, there have been conversations around having a presidential.
This is the place where we give you the opportunities to tell us the issues that matter to you. Tell it in your own words. We're not asking you to bring a rep. We're not asking you to bring someone to come and speak on behalf of you. We're giving you the platform, giving you the opportunity to share your thoughts. And for this week, one thing we've been doing mainly is actually heading to the various constituencies to actually give the constituents the opportunity to assess the performance of their various MPs. And it's been interesting because I mean, on Monday, we actually had my colleague Sam. He actually went to Ladade Kotopon. He got to speak and engage with some of the key people. We did have some faction of the public saying, okay, they intend to actually retain their MP. Some were saying that, I mean, the expectations they had is not being met, so they were planning to actually vote her out. Yesterday, he did take the conversation straight to Lejo Kuku, where he also engaged a faction of the constituents there. And yes, as usual, you can't have everybody on the same team. We have those that are fighting for the sitting MP, and we have those that are saying, no, I don't think the person is meeting my expectations. But yesterday they had issues. Some of the constituents raised issues about, job creation, and then, some of the key things. So they believe that the MP has created jobs. Others believe that, there's been the construction of roads. So for them, that was a positive sign, and that was one of the reasons why they did intend to actually retain him. Others said, nah, they don't actually see, and they don't think he has a mind of his own. So they intend to actually vote him out. These are some of the key opinions that we want to hear, and these are the things that matter. We're heading straight. Today, my colleague Samuel Nyimabo is actually at the Ayawaso West Bogon constituency, and he's going to do the same thing. He's going to engage with the constituents and give them the opportunity to assess the performance of their MP. So let's go straight to Ayawaso West, where Samuel is ready on standby. Hi, Samuel.
Hello, Epiphania, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Right, thank you, Epiphania. Here, the Greater Accra Ghana Speaks, where we engage with the constituents for them to assess their parliamentary candidate ahead of the 2024 elections. And like we did starting this week, we are here to engage some constituents within the Ayawaso West constituency. We are just at the Baoleshi School Park. This school park is noted for the unfortunate incident that happened in 2019 in the by-election, where some violence leading to some issues that resulted into the commissioning the president setting up a commission to investigate into the violence that happened at this place. So we are just at that polling station, the Baoleshi police station. Yes, I have some residents here who will be talking to me. In this 22 parliamentary seat, sitting from the NPP side and the opposition NDC having a candidate in the person of John Dumelo, the sitting MP Lydia Seram Al-Hassan, who is going for her second time to see if she can win this bid or this parliamentary seat again for the New Patriotic Party. This constituency has been a stronghold for the NPP, and I'll move straight to engage the constituents here who are here. I have with me a lady here. Good morning, Pacho. What is your name?
Pacho, my name is Lauren Amante from Pom.
All right. Laurentia, if you look at the two contenders, we have media. Which of these two, ahead of the elections, do you think would help the Ayawaso West constituency?
If you could please position yourself so that we can get your sound clearly. If you could please position yourself so we can get your sound clearly.
Hello, are you hearing me? Is it clear now?
Yes, it's clear now.
All right, thank you. So let's continue with Madam Laurentia here. You are saying na o ka se ma Lydia na beboa ayawase for e denti na kanisa.
Lydia de waboa yen. Kasi ma Lydia onboa yen e boa. Waboa ye pa onye sika na onu nko wondi. Hwenye bebra wa ye kollegon ha ya hwade anya dan o masiko masi wo ho. Kwa bele nkwe kwhwe. Pebale shikra na siko si toilet mo afie nyina. Me pass them hospital kwesi a ma Lydia wo ye ho. Ma Lydia hwe kwan a wo ye ho ha se ogu quota suma ye fine. Ukone ho do ba school kra kone ho yale kwa ma Lydia wa on kasambo puniti. O be mo be hwe fe na se kra me kono mi nyam ma Lydia ma ngwase o ma misika ifa nkoye adwuma bade ba ko pe na aka ma Lydia on for ade ba ko aka ne se on flay youthful na wa ha ni nyina ko hye ba ko no bi so bia de obi ehia no yama no last 4 years ma Lydia ma me machine e ma me nua ma hye mfa nko sun adwuma wa boa me bi de adwuma nwa no skra me nsuan so anya hwe so me wa me san adwuma ene kra ka wa boa me wa machine makale ti kra me de pam wo fie Aboames ma Lydia de no anye beto ama no.
Okay.
Du melody ye nimu no. Ma Lydia ne be so on to aso. Wa boa ni owu kra de be sa ni sunsun wo beto ama no. Nti ma Lydia do no anye ye to ama no.
Pacho ma me ba wo so. John Dumelo say he did for you. But when Tinian winning, 2024. Anima also obey Abua friend is saying I was so Ebenezer also Obama. I was I am the most cleanest constituency in Accra. He will make sure that I also is clean and safe and everything. Obebua school Palania de or ye you be or Legon Hawk. Osha Mutumana M1.
Oh, M1 because Malaysia on Shanamba check ahasi on ma check ha on no baby not opogro on not ana honno officer on why they was sisi on so ba Malaysia bobola do I say e bon kan any bola no the district assembly so on no so ni office no oba MC district assembly and a municipal assembly no and there was almost sure clean this animal man your friend is an MP ma Lydia ebe sanitation minister so say no per se or the okini ama ha efe so o per se o clear fa yesterday o ya am for say eh papa who here bibi ma ha efe then e choba man but unya hwi to mi so unya hwi dia intuma so ba yetuma odia e be na stand be go show busafo no why so you be the other be the and the end there say acho yes yent me fa sakasa we ko efidie no so mpacho me hu se oton ade oton beshit ni ade 2024 elections yi o hwe two candidates na omo bana why na betimi aboa ma wa de tro na woton no ebekọ ani Lydia e se me na me ntu aba wa ha o na me tu wo kaneshi me mani nyina mama yi abado abaha na yi me din abaha sametu mama Lydia enti baba chama mama Lydia minister o why mo bo meto ama me me nyina ya oba tampa ti betumi aye why pacho many wo kasa pacho bra na ye kasa ye hwe area mo ha o say o te area mo ha empuntunjuma bempa na eyiamo ewo area mo ha ya fine any here park no be yes so my polane bobo a wo any toilet bola no eso go be pia esimo mo siesie so wo no mo ye toilet ko polane ni na wa ha pay for nya bola no so mo ko toilet ese ye titi around so no cent ese ayale
Won. It's the Indian some Bessie Bola and so my. Not the Conco Bodom Bessie or Nasi, quality to go na a cat for the one. Yet, no more toilets be sure. No never got to go to like paper. 152 sitting at you. Ebena Apolatis go necessary can inco. Won't the toilets be no Bessie or how my and that's yes, a first one. And I said, one holiday, because of why I did. Poly tank, a CNG, 2 pipe. I didn't see blank now. How much do you? Poly tank, what is the about my shares when you're holiday, because they're only back for man. On your bar, Suprampo, no, I am quite near hospital for the dada. Smally daddy on one.
I didn't say, it's because on the Abamu, they're not buying our president, our sitting president, as a Muma John Dumelo Sopaya, or also Betty Abbey asking because on buy and Pono, on buy and Pono, or Bois student, Emo Munshi say in your short here, or yes, animal Ebuamo.
Let me in Kaima Lidiasem, Tamana Nikunu. Eh, Penisem, Jaco was on. Then I buy the was so, and so not what. Oh, yeah, quite no, banana was so on your sika, eh, quite, am I yang? Or G. or Hano, a boy, it's not a banana also, senior son or one to the boy. It's also no banana also a cacana bets me in a year. The young will say, oh, Ebia Cacla on bios, you know, banana was a claim in a YMCA, but someone. It's now buying a Suprana, obey money that I'm buying this Suprana, or you're about Tampana, Mamma, Akuma, fancy, obey. Smiley, dear, do my low so super set tomorrow. I can also one, yeah, near what's there. Oh, that's me, I am. Smiley, dear, obey.
Dumelo see bet Mammy Browso, oh, yeah, Bema in Petit Moha. You must send to say what happened.
Oh, do my dear, you might be a crowd, for the Penua, but you must have done your papa. You must have done your papa. She said, my dear, with my I said, maybe our ha. I'm a nipa, Mommy, do my you to know another you to me. Omuni do my cry, and a man that's it, I said, chrono. Although no more about phone, yes, she and to my money at a town. Pashopa, or the over be as I maybe ha. And there, a mamma Scabaka, Mamma, I'm a baby, I'm to wallet. Yeah.
Patch of Mouse, who does the person who can be and then also.
And Jumana Semana Yakan, my Lydia. To say, baby, back on a best abolition penny for Numpo. That's a secretary Mano. That's what best see, Bibica class, you want say, well, person who say Juma. Share Baomia or buy her. Share Kaya, you're there with.
So we could hear you clearly.
I'm Madina Makayo for Kayo for first.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so let's continue the conversation here at the Iowa West at the to get the assessment of the sitting MP and the other candidate, and the other candidate who is vying for the position, John Dumelo, what they make of these two candidates going into the election. That's all. And I hope that it's not and so who's now obviously when we are to say
I love you.
Incumbent advantage, right? Bruni could be incumbent advantage. Or a Malidia neti, your friend is saying, Honeti Abasu, and Honeti Akunyano Sunti, or a quiet no Edisa Eba. It is a me.
I say, I first one to say. Malidia, any new than a not so, a die junk, or was not now banana was so. And no, Kakla no one, ye, Juma, ye, who's Mawa, Kakla, ye, would say, oh, black, say, no, yeah, you get or ye be, and just now, Friday, I to the chair. Yet, too much to see an own yet, yet tomorrow, that's it, here. That's it. The one who Malidia, be a my honest yet to man.
Pacho, then now, Mount when you have a Maria, some panic shout. Si le go balè si soukou people que te be beto le timan ko e kwa ye be ko to amo beto le te ya go ko ye be kwa people ye be photo nyina ye di owayo ye be te photo no me baba le si no ya na be to de wo papa la sina mo koni e jakwa na mo shekwa ko la na ma kopra na mo de mo ni na tani na bada si ya copy temiti ya kasa teachers for no mo ye de o mo fi ya kasa mo ti so mo fi me di ma use back it to ana me wo this John Domelo
Mahama o Baomio
Mahama o Baomio ye be sen that's it was finally before many months abaya yeti there was so from 2019 adibisi e ma antokwa e baye e ma he na me bisaw 20 election message bank finally we message bank homa constituent from that ebeya asundie beba constituency mo emba be he bi ma ntokwa beba
me metima aka ne say e abote be unu hye ofie edu so beto aba opie beto aba akọ ofie wakọ e de obeye uti se obi jabe bi ka he bia fo anu kwaka bi otu aba enya afi na be jina bi bia yesi ndi say there bi otu aba wi se o de mo me jina na bonti be gbegbe akọ fa say 2019 si na me meba we every this year my sika se me fan ko hospital entinu election ya to abayin utu wi akọ fie ko pe odua no di ena afi na be jina kwan ho ena bi bia yesi ena me to my MP there bi had me enjoy ko fie ko share there asu ni simba
also na mo ha esudie e wo ayawa so west wagon ha
aha de ye pe ye hina police for on be ha boys on mo ano sip frache omu na djuma ye na at looking for ha Nti say yenya police no na say yenya obi a Maya na ba fidi a why yes someone anti say any position one put the things I check in the play go na say Americans but Malaysia police station
me pacho oni ye ma me dia obakaka oyo obata bia le ma me ba ko pe mi ano le dia e obodo ti de guy no Wakoti letio no na ile je mi de ku no yo no yo nya ti ya baba edo akota de bonadi why dey no follow up with just to try to progress so no me ku gare no you know eh me let go the bomb blind I mean the bomb blind you want me to talk about the nyasi wale you know the government wale what the all right, Epiphania. These are some sentiments from the constituents, from the voters here at the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, the competition is going to be a very tough one between Lydia and Hassan Sarah and John Dumelo of the NDC. As you've heard, they have a plethora of challenges within they are looking for more jobs for the youth within the constituency. They are looking for more sanitation facilities around this area, more roads and jobs for the people. They want to train, they want themselves, they want to learn more technical vocational skills. They want an advocate to learn skills so that they can provide for themselves in their communities and their children.
With these constituents, and the people have made clearly, you know, they stated their mind. They've said what they think. We had some of them supporting and insisting that they were going to actually keep the current, the incumbent MP in power. Others, they stipulated some of the key things that she has done for them, citing examples where some of them were actually beneficiaries of some of these initiatives. And some of them said, it doesn't matter who comes into power. We also had someone trying to find out that, don't they think it's because, it has to do with the fact that her party is currently in power, but then they feel they've seen the handiworks, they've seen what she's done, and it's not just today, it's just even from the time her husband was actually the one in charge. So they're going to keep her, and they're going to definitely vote her and retain her in power. Yes, well, this is what Ghana Speaks is all about, giving you the platform, the opportunity to be able to tell us from your heart the issues and the matters that are actually affecting you personally and directly. But we want to actually apologize for the profane comment that was passed by one of the constituents as my colleague Samuel was engaging with them. Well, we're heading straight now into the world of business, and my colleague Abna is ready for us with Business Fix. Straight into the world of business. Abna is ready. Hi, Abna.
Hello, Epiphania. Good morning.
Good morning. So what are we looking at for today?
We are looking at the conversation we've been having since Monday, what we should expect as we enter into the election season and the festive season. You remember that on Monday we spoke with a banker. Yesterday we spoke with an economist, and they gave us their perspectives of the economy, of the cedi, and what to expect as we enter into this season. Today we are looking at it from the point of industry players. How does it affect industry players? What are they expecting? How have they armed themselves, for want of a better word, as we enter into the season? So today that is the topic, conversation with the AGI on the current state of the cedi ahead of the elections and the festive season, Epiphania.
Interesting one. I'm sure our viewers cannot wait, and everybody's ready to learn something. So please take it away.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on Business Fix on ABC in the morning. Like I said earlier, today we are looking at the cedi ahead of the elections and the festive season, and our conversation is with AGI. Our conversation is with the AGI to see what to expect, and we have the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of AGI to help us do this conversation and do it well. He is Chonam Akpelu, joining us over the phone. Good morning, Chonam.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I hope you're doing well.
I'm fine. Greetings to your cherished listeners.
Well, thank you. We are looking at the cedi. We know that the cedi has not been too stable this year. The cedi has been, the cedi has been doing well to catch up with the dollar, unfortunately unable to really catch up. But we are getting into the election season where a lot of money will be used, and the festive season where Ghanaians, regardless of anything, have to celebrate the season. So would be going into the markets and all. From your place or your stance as AGI, how is the cedi faring, and how are industry players positioning themselves so much so that they are not affected adversely?
Great, thank you for your question. So I'd like to begin by saying that the phenomenon of the depreciation of the cedi has been a major headache for all industrialists in Ghana. You would observe that about 70% of everything we use in Ghana are imported. What it means is that we have to be able to buy dollars in order to go and buy those goods from abroad and bring to the country. Again, most of our industrial establishments rely heavily on raw materials from abroad. And so what it means is we, the local economy, the agriculture sector, the extractive sector, we are unable to generate enough raw materials to power our industries. So we rather have to rely on consistent raw materials from abroad. And all of them will mean that we need dollars or hard currency to be able to do that. So there's been an intense pressure on getting more dollars in order to run our factories. Now we're getting to an election season where a lot of the businesses are uncertain. So because of that, a lot of people are naturally hoarding money to wait to see what happens during the election. And that is not helpful at all for our industries, because the monies they are holding are mainly in hard currency. But we need the money to flow in the economy in order that we can have access to hard currency to trade. Again, most of these raw materials we import from abroad are things that we buy regularly, like say quarterly, like every 3 months you have to import. But because of how the exchange rate situation is, we are unable to plan because the currency is not stable. It's not stable because we are still relying on having to import these raw materials. And you'd also observe that, you see, during Christmas, our friends that are into importation of finished products will be very active in importing, because that's where a lot of people buy stuff. And that also put a lot of pressure on the currency. And so our view is that it appears that it's getting worse, not better. And so if you're asking us that, how are we able to get ready to mitigate the situation? The only solution now is, number one, to beef up our buffer stock or agricultural sector to ensure that at least we are able to source some of the raw materials from within the country. Do you know that hotels in Accra import vegetables from Netherlands and abroad? Do you know that we are not even able to produce enough vegetables for our hotels? Do you know that we are importing tomato from Burkina Faso? Okay. Do you know that we are importing sausage from Ukraine? So I'm saying that it's so serious, and we have everything it takes to be able to produce these things locally. So the immediate solution is that if we can quickly get back to work and produce most of these, raw materials we need locally, it will go a long way to help the city stabilize.
Okay, so whilst we see that the city is not stabilized, Honam, what would you say the various trade unions can do to help? The trade unions play a very critical role in this sector. What can they do to help to cushion their members, people in the industry, as we get into this very crucial season?
Yeah, so that's a hard question, because you see,
yes, guys,
for us, let's say in industry, in AGI, we do not control the stability of the currency. So you need to direct this question to the government, because the central bank, the Ministry of Finance, they have a responsibility to pursue the monetary policy of the government. They have to ensure that they take all steps that our currency is stabilized. But what we can do as industry, as I mentioned earlier on, is to ensure that we source most of our local raw materials locally. Okay, we should be able to get down on the ground, go to the farm gates, and mobilize the food that they supply for our industries to be powered. I mean, if we do that, then the money we would have been sending to buy raw material from abroad can actually be spent in the economy, and that will pushing the stability of the city. So in the immediate terms, we can focus on that. Whilst at it is important to reiterate that the Ministry of Agriculture has to take immediate steps to ensure that there's constant supply of this food and agriculture produce that we need in our factories. Nigeria, for example, they have banned the importation of rice, and now they are sustainable. They are able to produce rice locally. But what's happening is that they are taking the paddy rice from Ghana and sending it to Nigeria for production, because we don't have any policy to protect rice farmers and all of that. So I'm saying that, imagine that we have a law that says you cannot take the paddy rice out of the country. It would mean that the money would have been used to import rice would have stayed here. Okay, we have capability to produce chicken, for example, but we are importing chicken. We are importing chicken because the chicken producer have to import the feed, the chicken feed from abroad, and that is putting so much pressure on them. But we can always create chicken feed from the farms. We've got the grains are here. So I'm saying that we need to realign our interests and our capabilities to ensure that we concentrate on boosting the local economy and producing the things that we need to develop our factories rather than importing.
But in realigning our interest and our taste, don't you think that it would also affect consumer behavior?
So that's why it is important that consumers, the citizenry, is aware and participate in ensuring that we protect the local industry. Look, when the Nigeria situation happened, when they banned importation of rice, there was a major uproar, and so people, all of a sudden, they are all encouraged to eat the locally produced rice. And at the time, the quality was very bad. But 2 years down the line, the Nigerian farmers and rice producers have been able to turn that situation around. Now, if you go to Nigeria, the rice they eat is better compared to when they started. So yes, initially, there will be some little suffering. But consumers must adjust. And that's how all the nations that have developed, they have to go through that phase. If you go to North Korea, at a point, they have to ban importation of everything within the period of 30 years. But now they are perfect. Now they are first-class, first-world industrial nation. So it can be opened up. So I'm saying that space is very important. And I believe that the citizens of the country are happy to help to ensure that we provide and support local industrialization. The challenge they have is if they are trying to tighten their belts, but the officialdom doesn't appear to also be doing their part. That's where the challenge is. So it is important that we harmonize the effort and every hand should be on deck to ensure that we produce what we consume and consume what we produce.
As we get towards that and as we look towards getting that, what are some other contingency plans that we can put in place to mitigate the situation? A step-by-step something. Today we are looking at this, tomorrow we are looking at this, just to build up. What are some of the contingency plans that we can look at?
Well, immediately on top of my head, I can suggest that there's still a lot of dollarization in our economy. Most of the goods and services are dollarized. If you want to rent certain houses, they quote in dollars. That has to stop with immediate effect. Because once you dollarize, then it means that you will need a lot more cedi to be able to pay that, even if it is you are going to pay cedi equivalent. So we have to immediately cease dollarization. Even though there's a law against dollarization, it's not being implemented effectively. So that has to happen.
Chonam,
yes.
Some people have said that during the Yuletide, during the festive season, we get a lot of people coming to Ghana, which is true. So if they want to rent an Airbnb, they want a place to stay, it's easier for them to pay with dollars. So it's a very comfortable and easy thing to do instead of having them to change their dollars into cedis.
Okay, so while it may be comfortable and easy, what we're fighting for is the turpitude of the economy. The economy must be protected at all times. If you go to South Africa, you better change money at the airport or go to a forex bureau to change money, because nobody in South Africa would accept any currency apart from the rand. Nobody, not for anything. Everything is quoted in the rand. Every transaction happens in the rand. That is how they are able to stabilize their economy. If you go to Barbados in the Caribbean, there's nothing like Forex Bureau.
The Bank of Ghana has introduced a new coin.
US dollars into the economy,
it's a two,
but you never get US dollars back. Nobody gives US dollars back for anything. Every transaction is done in their local currency. That is how they protect their economy. That is why since 1984 to today, Barbados dollars is $2 Barbados to $1 US. It's been stabilized since 1984 to today. If you go to Bahamas, the Bahamas dollar is $1 US to one Bahamas dollar. It's because of some of these measures. There's nothing like Forex Bureau, because the Forex Bureau operation is profiteering. It's just benefiting the few who understand this type of business. But we can't be focused on trading money at the expense of the growth of the real economy. The real sector is the one that needs to see growth. So we have to forget about comfort and all of that and ensure that some of these hard policies are put in place to promote the growth of the economy.
Okay. So Chonam, can you give us your last words before we go on
what
as we enter the elections and the Yuletide season, and what people in your industry and the industry players should do?
Well, for me, the first thing I'll say is that for those who are hoarding hard currency in their homes, they should release the money into the economy. Those who, because of politics and all of that, are keeping hard currency, dollars, millions of dollars in their home, they should release the money. The money must be spent in the economy. They should release the money. That's very important. Number two, industrialists must begin to look inside sourcing their raw materials within Ghana. Industrialists must make effort to work with farmer groups and stakeholder farmer groups to support them to produce the raw materials they need locally to be able to power their industries. If you're able to do these type of things, we will be fine. The last word is that all the products that we have capability to produce locally, I want every Ghanaian to purchase local products. That is the only way we can develop the economy. There are many products that we have capacity to produce. If you take mattress, between Latest Home and Ashford, they are able to produce enough mattress to supply the whole economy. However, see, every day when you drive around Accra, you see Bola goods, plenty mattress being sold on the streets, used mattress. So there's no motivation to buy original high standard quality mattress from the locally produced one. Take cooking oil. Cooking oil we have, AGA has local capacity to produce, to supply the whole West Africa. But every day they are bringing in cheap fake cooking oil from abroad. So I'm saying that, please, if you go to the market, look for a Ghanaian made product. The good thing is that now the packaging is better, the quality is better, because the standard authority is ensuring that before you release your product into the market, it is highly standardized. That's why some of our products are some of the best produced in the world. So I'm assuring our citizenry to go and buy AGI products, because that's the only way we can help in protecting the economy for all of us to better from. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you for speaking with us, Chonam.
Thank you too for having me.
So that was Chonam Atelu. He is the Greater Accra chairman for the AGI, the Association of Ghanaian Industries. Epiphania.
Yes, Abna. Well, key. What's your key takeaway? I did, though, one thing I did, I mean, I'm realizing it's becoming like a trend since you started this on Monday, that these experts, everybody keep pointing to the fact that we should look inward. We should start being dependent. Let's patronize our own. And then also, let's start producing the things that we can do here and stop taking it from outside. So everybody is just pointing their hands back home. In. That's a key message I get to bring across since Monday.
Yes. So what I would have said, look at production, manufacturing in Ghana, and then let us reduce and get to a point of even stopping importation.
Well, definitely. That's very, very important.
Yes.
So for those of you that go out to the market, I mean, like he said, please, if you're going, look for Ghana-made products. When next you step out to patronize or buy something, get something home. Oh, I want to go and do some, grocery shopping. I want to go and purchase, or basically just go and stock up, for the house, especially we're heading towards Christmas. People like to stock on things because you know that November, December, there'll be shortage on certain things. And if there's no shortage, the prices of those things would have shot up. So you'll not be able to actually afford it. It will not be within the normal price range. And because the people know the demand is high, then you have no choice but to buy. So those of you going to stock up, please look for made in Ghana stuff. Abna, you were saying something.
To help. Yes, looking at made in Ghana stuff and buying them comes back to help us ourselves.
Yeah, that's
buy
true.
something that was produced there, something that you can trace. Like Chonam said, now the packaging is beautiful. Everything is good because the standards are higher now. So to bring me a basket. I'm looking forward to see a lot of Ghanaian made stuff in the basket, Epiphania.
Don't worry. I think we'll definitely get that. We have to start. Go hunting for made in Ghana products. That's definitely what we'll be doing.
I already have my eye on quite a number of them.
Oh wow!
And then I'm eyeing them, so I can send you a WhatsApp message on that.
Wow, you have
so
the
that
list?
you keep an eye on it.
I mean, are the prices attached?
The prices are good.
Okay, definitely. Like, see, as Abdullah is saying, those of you that are going to buy the hampers and things, ensure that whatever you're packing in it is everything. We have, like she said, we have good products. If you're saying that, oh, the packaging, the branding, please, that story is old. We have companies, we have people that are taking the branding, the packaging, everything to the next level, and the quality is top notch. So please, this year, Christmas hampers and things, everything in that basket must be made in Ghana. You're still watching ABC in the morning. Moving away from business fix, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we're going for our main discussion.
Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the 3rd season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054-955-4148 to register.
Attention business owners, it's time to take your business to the next level with ABC News GH Television's mega promo. From August 1st to October 31st, 2024, we're offering you unbeatable deals to advertise your products and services. Don't miss out on this amazing chance to reach more people and grow your brand. For more details, give us a call on 050-993-0360. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Follow us on social media at ABC News GH_.
Still watching ABC in the morning. We've got to one of the key parts. This is the main discussion. But today we're focusing on a very critical issue, election security. And basically, we're actually using the recent developments in the NPP Wale Wale primaries. I didn't say a case study, but that's what we're spotlighting on, because this has actually, brought a lot of things. People are like, okay, we're worried. And this is a primary. We're yet to get to the general elections, the main presidential election. What are we going to look forward to? Well, following the unfortunate incident that actually happened during the rerun on September 9th, where the sorting process was actually disrupted. We had the MP, who is Lariba Abudu. She has officially withdrawn from the race. I mean, the key issues that happened during, but I just want to give a background to the whole thing. So in the past few months, the NPP, Wale Wale primaries have been marred by what you call a series of disruptions and disputes. And this has actually culminated in a chaotic rerun that took place on September 9th, 2024. But then the sorting was also disrupted by an individual, and this actually led to the Electoral Commission declaring the results null and void. Now, this was actually followed the ruling by the Tamale High Court in January, and they declared the initial December 2023 primary null and void due to electoral irregularities. The sitting MP for Wale Wale, Lariba Abudu, who initially had contested the primary results, has now withdrawn officially from the race, and she cited concerns, for the unity, the peace of the constituency, and also the greater good of the party in general. Now, her withdrawal is basically clearing the way for Dr. Kabiru Tiamahama. He is a special advisor to the president, and he's going to represent the New Patriotic Party in the December 2024 elections. Now, this whole Wale Wale incident is basically just one of the examples for potential, electoral disputes, and basically it could escalate. It's raised concerns about the security of future elections and also the need for more robust dispute resolution mechanisms. And with this whole thing that is a growing concern among everybody, we're wondering whether alternative dispute resolution process could also help avoid some of these violent confrontations and ensure a smooth electoral process. We'll definitely be joined to help us discuss this. Would have two key guests on it. But before that, let's take a listen to what the president of the land had to say about peaceful elections. I can't hear this.
And in total compliance with the laws of the country. As far as the ruling NPP party is concerned, a party born from the noble national resistance to authoritarian one-party rule in Ghana in the First Republic. Rigging is not part of our DNA. We have been and are eternal Democrats. We trust and accept the freely accepted express judgment of the people. My response to the unfavorable verdicts of 2008 and 2012 is there for all to see. The ingredients for our success in the 2024 elections will be the party's record in government these last 8 years and the exciting vision for Ghana's future outlined by our excellent presidential candidate, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mohamed Bawumia, whom the opposition leader is afraid to debate. The 2024 elections, like the previous ones we have held in Ghana in the Fourth Republic, will be conducted peacefully and in total compliance with the laws of the country. As far as the ruling NPP party is concerned, a party born from the noble.
Well, that's what the president had to say regarding the elections, and everybody wants a peaceful election. But before we move on to the discussion, let's take a listen to what Lariba had to say.
I think you know what is happening in Walwale constituency following the inconclusive of yesterday's promise or rerun. Now the EC was not able to declare a winner. So based on that, I've decided that I want to step down and will not go contest the seat again. I'm doing this for the sake of the greater New Patriotic Party and Walwale constituency. I'm doing this for the sake of unity, peace, love for the constituency. And I also want to urge the President and Vice President that I'm doing this for their sake. So I want to thank each and every one of you for always standing by me and always supporting me. I'm very happy, and I want to encourage each and everyone to take peace as a stepping stone and let us all come together, fight and win this seat for Ghana. I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Well, let's hear what Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama also had to say.
Very pathetic situation. We pride ourselves in democracy. We always claim and boast of saying that we are the beacon of democracy. We are the pace setters, the basis, the foundation upon which liberal democracy is founded. The NPP prides itself in that. A democratic process has been organized. Sorting was done. Someone out of fear, knowing very that there is imminent defeat, has decided to disrupt the process. We know the person. I have raised issue this morning. You remember the confusion, the chaotic situation that visited the accreditation. The same person. So if someone tells me he doesn't know that person, I'm afraid. If you tell me you don't know this person, he's been arrested. The former constituency chairman for Yagaba Kubori. His name? Akamara Bawa. Okay. You tell me you don't know him, you don't know someone who has been on campaign platform campaigning for the MP. Such a person has abused the processes, disrupted these processes. I just hope the police will be able to take his course. The ballot, I'm told, is secured. It will be counted. They must count it. And I have absolute no doubt that when it's counted, the winner, the voices of the people, the people's favorite will be declared. This is my statement for them. But look, I have raised issue about this personality. I have had cause to go in and alert them. They should turn him out. He has no business in that particular process. Several complaints have been laid to them in respect of this particular gentleman. We have seen the end result of it. He's been sent to Bolga. Let's hope the police take his action. But you see, this election has been won. It was won on the 27th January 2024 The verdict was a stolen verdict from the court. I did not run away from the process. I participated. My fidelity to the process was utmost. Even though I did not run from the process, people thought that the will of the people would be subverted. It did not.
Well, definitely we'll be discussing this, and I'm not doing this alone. So to help me actually discuss this key issue and this thing that has arisen. But before that, prior to Lariba's withdrawal, the leadership of the NPP actually planned to meet based on this issue. Tells you how serious the matter is. Well, to help us discuss this, we actually have Most Reverend Matthew Kwesi Gyamfi. He happens to be the president of the Catholic Bishops Conference. So he'll be joining us as we'll be discussing this. We actually have joining us Richard Kumado. He's the executive director for the Independent Election Security and Compliance Watchers. So we'll be starting with Richard, who has joined us on the line. Good morning, Richard. You're welcome to the show. Good morning, Richard. If you can hear me, you're welcome to the show. Well, we'll try and definitely get Richard to actually talk to us. But like I was giving you a background. Good morning, Richard. You're welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Heading straight into it, I mean, given your background when it comes to election security and compliance, I want to find out, what are your thoughts, on the during the recent Wale Wale primaries?
Okay, so if you remember, in recent times, we have two violent elections in Ghana. One was Ayawaso West Wuogon, and this particular one happened at Wale Wale. There could be comparisons, and you could see some similarities on what led to the violence we witnessed at Wale Wale. I think there were security breaches, there was security operational management failure, and the politicians acted above their heads, and that led to where we are now. Now, people want to compare it to what will happen in December. You realize that we were at Komewo with Dampare. When we left Komewo, all the political parties were clapping for him. We went to Asimnof with him. There was no major issue. Then we came to Ejusu. There was no major issue. Recently, Dampare has been assigned a deputy IGP with a designation of security operations. I don't know whether that is why Dampare has relaxed, or I have not been seeing him in a public space again. If you relax, then you are going to see the kind of issues you're having at Wale Wale. Knowing who Dampare is and the nature of the security operations and security management, particularly with the 3 elections we have had under his tenure, I don't think he would have allowed what happened at Wale Wale to happen. The first and second and third security layers, which is supposed to be in this particular contentious election, which is rerun, and somebody from a higher authority contesting a city MP, we needed a little bit more circumspection and a layout that ensures safety and public guarantee securities are achieved. We did not do that. So that is the basis of what we are seeing at Wale Wale.
In your opinion, think that election security can be strengthened to prevent incidents like this, from like what we witnessed?
Definitely. If Dampare has come to the fore and Dampare has come to the game with a progressive aggressiveness, making sure that the area is coiled off. The NPP delegates are usually about 500 something. These are not large numbers. They would have pulled it off, considering the fact that there was no major issue from the position of the Electoral Commission and their processes and procedures. They would have pulled it off. I think he was a little bit relaxed. His men were a bit relaxed, and this would have been an indictment on him, considering the nature of the contestations and the acrimony we are seeing. So I think it's unfortunate, but that is the reality we face, and that is what it is.
So, as you've made mention, I mean, this has raised concerns because people are trying to link this directly to what's going to happen in come December 2024, and people are worried. So, for you, you believe that security forces, or Dampare, as you're pushing directly on him, has to tighten when it comes to his security belt?
Okay, so when it comes to national elections, there are 4 people involved. Electoral Commission, who has a responsibility of conducting the elections and declaring results as such. And when we go to elections, every election is unique in itself. So you have a CI as a statutory law that governs elections in Ghana. The CI does three things. First, it defines the election procedure. Number two, it outlines the election processes. And number three, it provides a remedy or a window for grievances to be addressed. This is where the issue is. Anytime the procedure is circumvented and anytime the processes are contravened, you are likely to have problems. And that is one of the smallest elements you saw in Wale Wale. In 2024 election, this is something that is crucial that if care is not taken, it's going to happen. We call it voter displacement. And that has the potential to create insecurity and public safety challenges for us. Why voter displacement? Electoral Commission has gone into the communities to create new police stations. Number two, they have also gone into the communities to reposition the former police stations. Then number three, when they did the exhibition of voters register, not many people have gone to check their names. If the presumption is that where I voted for 20 years ago or 4 years ago is going to be the same place, there's going to be a problem. Now, even when you use the star 711 star 51 hash, it's not giving accuracy. People use it. It gives them a code. They got to the place and their names were not found. Every election has 5 layers of timeline. If displacement happens within the first and the second time layer, we are not going to have a problem. But when it happens in the last or the last but one, people will be agitated because they will be nervous and the anxiety will set in and they may think somebody wants to disenfranchise them. So that is a difficult red flag that is ahead of us we need to deal with. We understand that people who did not check their name, there's some possibility to take their name from the voters register and put it in the exceptional list. I hope Electoral Commission will reconsider. Other than that, if people can't find their name or they form a line to get to where to vote and their names are known at those police stations, there will be a problem. This is what I have been thinking the Electoral Commission should do. As a body mandated for conducting elections, it's also part of the Electoral Commission education drive to text people and let them know their bio and let them know where they are supposed to vote. It should be something the Electoral Commission should be interested in. And if the Electoral Commission has taken your name out of the voter register, reasonably, they should let you know so that you don't turn up. Other than that, people will turn out and their names are not there, or the likelihood of they being moved from one police center to another will be high, and that could create problems. Then you have the police in charge of election security. I think national elections on the larger scale, and they will need some level of preparedness and readiness to ensure that calm has prevailed and Electoral Commission processes have worked so that they work together. Then the political parties will have to organize themselves properly. Now, on election day, there's nothing like NDC and MPP. We are all Ghanaians who form a queue to vote. What we need as electorate or voters is proper education. And when people are properly educated, they know what to do and they know how to behave properly. If these 4 things are not done, we are likely to face some level of challenges. When I set up the Independent Election Security and Compliance Watchers in 2008, precisely then, we've traveled to almost everywhere there's election. And if you look at some of the elements and the tendencies we've seen in some of those elections, I think we should be benchmarking it. But sister, guess what? One of the crucial areas that also creates public safety and security elections, fraud, violence for us is the coalition centers. We've been doing elections since 1992. How well is our coalition center? In the last election, Madam J. Mensah added the regional coalition center, and people were not prepared, and that led to the shooting of the guys at Tekema South, which have not been investigated, and nothing has been done about it up to today. When you look at the UK election, I stand to be corrected, but they were even using one coalition center to declare a number of election results from constituencies. We are not prepared. We haven't done much about our coalition centers and coalition of election results, distortions, discrepancies, and duplications. It's likely to happen, and we are going to be prepared to deal with it. Other than that, the peace we are asking for, it could be eluding us very fast.
Well, you've actually, stated some key things and also outlined these key parties. In fact, these key agents who actually play a key role when it comes to ensuring that we have a peaceful election come December 7th, 2024. One key thing I want to touch on is that we keep hearing about most of these, candidates withdrawing for the sake of peace, So I withdraw. Now, Larry Babudu's withdrawal from the primaries and basically the ongoing disputes that we have happening among the place. One thing I want to find out, people don't tend to pay attention to, how and in what way can unresolved disputes, create more political tension, and how does this impact the security when we're going to...
No, if you are following elections and you understand the dynamics, what they have done is just window dressing. Number one, the affirmative action bill has been on the drawing board for a very long time. Pressure was put on the speaker and they just passed it. So for the women groups who said women should get to parliament and women should be at the decision-making tables, they are not going to take it kindly with what happened. Particularly when the guy who just spoke is coming from the office of the vice president. It's not going to work. Then, predominantly, because the vice president also comes from Wale Wale, it presupposes that the sitting MP might be related or might be sister or cousin or something. Family is divided. The people are divided. They are not just divided along party lines and party ideologies, but the same people fighting. I can tell you for sure that it's going to build up and it's going to trigger a pressurized system where there will be acrimony and there will be tensions and there will be contestation in the streets almost every day from now to maybe God knows how many years it's going to go. And this has tendencies to create many problems within that particular area. This is an area I know so well, and there are various pockets of issues here and there. Elections in Ghana has become one of the major national security threats we face. And not just in Ghana, within the West Africa zone. That is why there are military takeovers and there are coup d'etats as a result of elections and election outcomes. We have a duty and a responsibility to behave properly. But this act of violence adds to the levels of threats we face already internally. And it's a national security risk assessment threat that we need to watch it carefully, because you may think it's just Wale Wale, but he has ripple effects all over the country, because these are family members that are scattered all over the country. And this is not the particular time for what we saw in Wale Wale. I think it's condemnable. I think there's no reason for that. And I think it's unfortunate. But the key actors in it need to bow their heads in shame, because they did not live to the expectations people have of them. As people seeking a higher office with high levels of responsibility, which includes public safety guarantees and security management and democracy without violence in this country.
So then, in this case, as you think this is condemnable, what do you think should have been the appropriate measure?
Now, I think that people need to be sanctioned appropriately. Non-punishable offenses will always rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies in society. Inconclusive investigations has always been the bane for criminals to triumph and to prod their trade. I think investigations needed to be done. Let the culprits be arrested. Let the key actors be made to answer some questions. And let all those with authority and the power to act right, we did not, they will need to face some level of sanctions. Then we can say we are taking ourselves seriously. Other than that, this democracy is not something that has happened. And the way we are running it, we'll be heading to a doom. Let me give you an example. The Apple Barometer report recently says that 9 out of 10 says that this democracy is not right, and they don't want it. 87% of people say that we are heading in the wrong direction. When I set up the Independent Election Security and Compliance Watchers, there are 4 things we do. One of them is political security risk assessment. The second one is democracy and governance risks. The third one is election security and election operation management. I'll keep the fourth one. But you could see, we've been to almost 220 constituencies in this country. Wale Wale was one of the places. And the risk was clearly there. From the first election to this particular one, the court process, you could see, you could feel it. You speak to people, they will tell you their position. And yet we did nothing about it. And what we wanted to avoid has triggered. And it's not just people in Ghana who are watching, but all over the world, their eyes on us to see that we kept our democracy intact and we are doing it rightly. And I think we missed an opportunity which shouldn't have been there in the first place.
violent clashes. Hello, Richard. Can you hear me? Hello, Richard. Can you hear me? Richard, can you hear me? Well, we'll still try and establish contact with Richard, but we're actually looking, at election violence, and we have the spotlight on the violence that actually took place, some of the chaos that happened in Wale Wale regarding the NPP primaries. And basically, this has not been a pleasant thing for all the parties that were involved. People are actually worried because this is the primaries. We're looking forward to a general election, and basically people are thinking what is going to happen. But we had Lariba Abudu, she has actually withdrawn yesterday. She said she has withdrawn from the race, and we actually have been engaging with Richard Kumado. He happens to be the executive director for the Independent Election Security and Compliance Watchers, and he has actually condemned the handling of the situation. He believes that such internal disputes would actually fuel more violence, because for him this is basically like the root of a tree. It runs across and it cuts across, and for him, especially with the issue in Wale Wale, we already have pockets of issues happening in Wale Wale, and election related issues tend to affect the main livelihoods of the people in Wale Wale. Now, one of the key things, though, that he made mention of the fact is that, the division on the lines is not just one side. It's not just about political. They're party divisions. Also, the one who is actually now going to take, or the one who is going to go straight and represent the party, also works straight in the office of the vice president. But that's not the only thing that we will be discussing. We're actually also looking on the other side at the fight against illegal mining, but we definitely will be looking more on election violence. Now, the fight against illegal mining, or Galamsey as people call it, has one of the most pressing environmental and social issues that we have in this country, and we've seen the devastating effects of Galamsey on our water bodies, the forest, and then also our general ecosystem. And not only has it caught the attention of environmentalists, but right now we have a wide range of civil society organizations and professional groups. And in recent months, several organizations, including UTAG, which is the University Teachers Association of Ghana, Occupy Ghana, the Peasant Farmers Association, the Christian Council, the Association of Mobile Money Agents, they have raised concern about the impact of Galamsey on their members and the broader community. Some of these groups actually they've gone as far as calling for a state of emergency and then a total ban on the Galamsey activity. So basically, the call is for stringent measures that to be stemmed. This includes health risk, the increasing health risk, the environmental degradation, the economic losses that is actually being caused by this menace. And in particular, UTAG has been vocal. They've been arguing that the consequences of Galamsey undermine the educational and professional aspirations of their members. We also are looking to, relate and talk to them. Now, today we're going to focus on the role of unions like UTAG, how they play, the role they play in this fight. Joining us, we have Professor Victor Mogre. He's the National Vice President of UTAG, and he's going to help us unpack how professional bodies can contribute to combating this threat, and then what specific challenges that Galamsey is posing to their members. Because like I mentioned earlier, people would say, okay, UTAG and Galamsey, how do they meet? Where do you guys meet? How is it even tied directly to you? So we have Professor Victor Mogre. He's the National Vice President of UTAG, and he'll be discussing this with us. Good morning, sir. You're welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for inviting me to this show and for reaching out to us. Yeah.
You're welcome. We just want to find out, first and foremost, the bane of the menace of the union in the fight. We're looking at how is this, you've made specific demands that the government should ban immediately illegal mining, small-scale mining, and we want to find out what specific demands for those people. We have heard, people have seen it going round and round, but specifically, what are you demanding for the government to do to address the challenge that illegal mining is posing?
Yes, so just like you had outlined in your introduction, that the effects of illegal mining that has on our environment, on our health, on our well-being, and all of that. We are just adding our voice to that. That, in fact, we have begun seeing some of those effects. I'm told that somewhere in the eastern region or so, they are not able to get potable water to drink. The Ghana Water Company have come out to say that they are not even able to get the raw water that can be treated to become potable water or to become water without any impurities that we can really drink to be able to support our day-to-day activities, to be able to support our physiological development, our physiological functions, and all of that. You know that water is very, very important. The same way with food. Our food is becoming contaminated as a result of the illegal mining. We have these hard metals that get incorporated into the food system, and people eat them, and then it brings about a lot of issues. Some of these cancer cases that we are having is as a result of some of those things. So we feel that illegal mining have got an effect on all aspects of our lives, and we feel that it is high time we also add our voice to it. Specifically, what we are asking for is for the government to come out and announce a ban on illegal mining in the country. It is not the first time that the government is doing that. I think somewhere in 2017, the government did that and announced a ban on it. And we started seeing an effect on that. I remember that time when they did that, the water level, the turbidity and all of that started going down. I remember the media actually was leading this particular charge as well as other organizations. And they were supporting government to do that. But because somehow along the line, we decided to relax, then the situation has really come back again. So what we are saying is that government should just come up with that same strategy again. They should place a ban on it. And then they should stop all of these activities and see how we can be able to bring this to an end. And we believe that when that is done, we'll be able to safeguard our environment. We'll be able to improve the kind of food that is produced in the country. Our water bodies is going to be improved. We'll reduce the effect on the environment. You know very well that nowadays the most topical issues is about what? Climate change. Climate change has got effects on everything, on people's livelihoods. It has got effect on the environment. It has got effect on our health and all of that. And some of these climate change issues that is coming is as a result of the illegal mining. You know, some places they go and break down the forest. They cut down trees and all of that. That has an impact on the climate. So illegal mining have got effects on all aspects of our lives, and we think that it is high time that we bring our voice, will come into this. Our interest is not only to be fighting for the welfare of our members' salaries and all of that. No, we go beyond that, because UTAC is a union of professionals, academic professionals who are into nutrition, who are into medicine, who are into environmental health and all of that, and we know what is happening. So it is not good for us to see that and keep quiet. We need to safeguard our country, and that is why we are really calling on the government to put a ban on that. Yeah.
Okay, but have you started any official conversations, engagement with the government regarding your concerns?
No, we've not had that. You know, we released this statement just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And we've not had any official communication yet. I think today some other unions are going to come up. I think organized labor is going to have organized labor is going to have a meeting today, and I'm sure very soon a communique is going to come out from organized labor. This is something that all the labor unions in the country actually support. Just like you indicated, there have been other civil societies who have also released statements. The same way in the labor unions, all of them have also issued statements. And something will definitely be coming from organized labor, I think by the end of today or so. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, what collaborative efforts, are being made by the association to actually engage with other stakeholders? I'm talking of, because, we have companies that engage in all these things. So some mining companies, the local communities, and like you said, you're yet to officially establish communication with government agencies to actually address the root cause of illegal mining.
Yeah, so in our statement, I think we made mention that we'll come up with a litany of activities, a list of activities that we'll be doing that would bring about a stop to this. So one of the things we have already started thinking about is to empanel our researchers across the campuses, those who have specialization in environmental, water quality analysis, all of that. We are going to empanel them. Then they will go to those Galamsey areas, those areas that the Galamsey is going on. Then they will take samples and conduct extensive or empirical analysis, empirical research, and be able to tell us the extent to which the Galamsey have really devastated our environment. So that when we are speaking to facts. We are not just based on what is being said in the media or what is being announced in the media. It's going to be based on the facts that will be generated from that. So we are already empaneling our members to do that. As you may be aware, it's not the first time we are doing that. The Volta Flats, we took a team of scientific investigators into those sites, and we took samples and analyzed the situation in those communities. And at the end, we came up with a report. In the same manner, we are going to do the same. We'll send people who empanel people that will be able to come up with those evidences. So empirical research is going to be done. We'll do scoping reviews based on existing literature that will tell us the situation, so that when we are speaking to it, we'll know that we are coming up with facts. And as an institution or an association that is made up of researchers, we will definitely have to be speaking to facts. It has to be evidence-based, and that is what we are going to do. So in the coming days, those are some of the activities that we'll be doing. And we'll be engaging the media. The media is one of the people or one of the stakeholders that we think that can really help us in this fight. Yeah.
Okay, definitely. Now, per your statement, the press statement you actually released on this issue. Now, and I'm reading directly, you said, but if your demands are met, if this is not done by the end of September 2024, we will embark on a nationwide industrial action. By this industrial action, are we equating this to the same as a strike?
Are we doing what?
Are we equating it to a strike?
A strike can also be described as an industrial action. It can either be a strike. We can also decide to go by the angle of civil disobedience. So these are strategies that we'll definitely be coming out with. We are still discussing with our campuses. But as I said, that is the ultimatum that we have to give. So as the time goes by, if we are not seeing any efforts, if we are not seeing any changes, or we are not seeing any critical efforts from the government to really address it, I mean, we will trigger the entire process to see how we can get to that, because we believe that through these processes, as one of our members indicated, civil disobedience is one of the ways that we are going to use to be able to hammer this, or to be able to bring this particular issue to bear, to see how government can really respond to it. We believe that government has the capability. Government have done it before, just like I indicated in my introduction. Government have done it before. Government have banned illegal mining before. And those days, we saw effects of it. We saw its effects. It's just the government was not able to maintain it. What happened? How come government was not able to maintain that? So we know that it is something that government can do. What we just need to do is to give government the needed support, is to give them the wake-up call, is to push them to be able to do that, to ensure that we are able to bring an end to this illegal mining. But we should even go beyond that, because those people who are involved in the illegal mining, sometimes it's as a result of the economic situation. It's as a result of poor income levels, socio-economical issues, and all of that. So we are calling on government that to even have a broad approach, bringing in all the stakeholders. It is not just only about the banning. Yes, when you ban, they were not able to sustain it because they only went into the banning and there were no other measures to be able to ensure that. We think that don't only ban, come out with a holistic approach to be able to deal with those people who will be displaced from the mining sites. What are you going to do for them? What measures are you going to put in place so that they will not go back to the Galamsey? So we are looking for a broad approach. And that is why I'm saying that we are empaneling our researchers. They will come together and they will profess solutions. They will come up with recommendations as to how government can be able to address this. And we want government to engage us, and we'll make those solutions to them, recommendations, and whatever support that government really wants us to do, we'll be able to do that for them. Yeah.
Definitely. I want to find out, I mean, is UTAG actually in support of the calls to repeal LI 2462?
Hello?
Yes, if you can hear me.
Yes.
I want to find out if UTAG is in support of the calls to repeal LI 2462.
LI 642, what?
Well, the LI 2462 basically giving the mining companies the lease to go and in fact the opportunity to go and mine in forest reserves.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, it is all part of the ban that we are talking about. We should put a hold to it. We are not saying that lease shouldn't be there, but if we can put a hold onto it and reassess ourselves and come up with all the strategies that is needed to be able to ensure that the right things are done. As somebody said, we are not the only country that is having gold. South Africa have got gold. Australia have got gold and all of that. But you will not see the destruction of the environment as we see it in our country. The neighboring countries, there are also some bits of gold and all of that there. We don't see that destruction that we are seeing in our country. So how are they able to do it and we are not able to do it? So we think that, as I said, the repeal of it, and what we're asking for is, even if you are not even able to repeal it and all of that, put a hold onto it. Don't give those new leases or whatever to new companies for them to go and prospect for gold, for them to go and bring down trees, cut down trees. They prospect for the gold and they leave. In fact, what is even so strange is even the foreigners, especially the Chinese. In fact, where I come from personally, where I come from, that is somewhere in Upper East region, in the Talisi area. I hope you are aware that there is also gold in the Talisi area. Where I come from, we are aware of Chinese who have come to take over. They've given leases for large-scale mining, where sometimes you have situations of the community people having issues with the Chinese. And sometimes they even invite soldiers, all of that, to come and even shoot at our own Ghanaian citizens. How can someone be in his own country and then you give it to another person and the person wants to do something and the foreigners are not in agreement and even invite your own army to come and be shooting them, all of that. And what they do is to destroy the environment. They don't take time to even try to reclaim it. We are all aware of ISA 1 or ISA what?
Yes,
all
ISA
of that.
1.
Some time ago, when government really came out with that issue, when they came up with the ban, is it Operation Vanguard or something?
Yes.
You know that they arrested a lot of Chinese and all of that. And some of them have to be extradited and all of that.
Yes.
So we need to really come back. We need to really put a ban on it. If not that, some people will come from elsewhere and come and destroy our environment and go back. And they'll go back and be enjoying clean water, all of that, while we are struggling here. It's having an effect on our cocoa. The cocoa, and the last time they were importing cocoa beans, we used to be number 1 in the country for the production of cocoa. We are now somewhere number 2. All of that. It is as a result of what? The destruction of the cocoa. A lot of cocoa farmers are no longer interested in doing the cocoa. They give the land out for people to mine, to do illegal mining, all of that. So it is something that we really need to take up on it. And we have reached a stage that all of us don't have to be sitting on the fence. We have to join the fight to ensure that we are able to bring out, we are able to bring a stop to this. And some of it touches us personally. My own brother has been involved with some of these galamseys and things like that, sometimes which even affected his education and all of that. So if we are able to put a ban on some of these things, it will really help us. So some of us, it goes beyond just the association. It is a personal ambition. It is a personal interest that we are really going into this.
Definitely.
All right.
Well,
I hope the time.
Oh no, I mean we're discussing the very key issue. One thing though I do want to find out, I'm not only Percy, I'm sure people are wondering, because when people saw UTAG has actually added their voice to this, menace, the talk on Galamsey, like, okay. Now, what are the key things? I mean, we're wondering, how are the teachers planning to balance their responsibilities to their students, and then the institutions when it comes to the advocacy in the case of school resumption? Because most of us are aware that, some schools are on vacation.
What we're asking for, or what we are doing, is one of our responsibilities. The role of the university lecturer is to teach, is to conduct research, and is to provide community service. What we are doing now is community service. We are providing community service. We are giving back to our community. We need to demonstrate all of that. So it will not have any effect on our classroom engagement on all. It's one of the responsibilities. As a university professor, as a university lecturer, as I said, one of the key roles we are supposed to do is to have community service. We engage policy stakeholders. For example, myself, I do research that I work with Ghana Health Service, UNICEF, all of that. That I engage them. I engage with Ghana Education Service. All of these are services that we are doing. And I don't see the Galamsey call to be different from some of those activities that I'm doing as my professional qualification or my professional role. So it is not something different. We are not adding any additional role. That is what we are supposed to do.
That's true.
Is that okay?
Yes, that's. I mean, I think people just wanted to be sure, so they wanted to know, okay, how are you going to balance the two, or are you still in alignment? So I think the education you have given, that community service, is part of your work, is important. Yes.
Yes. So in fact, you should be hearing us more, and you realize that even most of the radio discussions that are talking about economics and all of that, you have our UTAC members doing that. A lot of them. I can mention a good number of them who have been discussing on economic issues. When it comes to energy, we'll have our members coming. When it comes to health, we'll have our members coming to discuss it and all that. So we are part and parcel of the national discourse and all of that. And we think that even in the past few years, we have been a bit quiet on some of those things. And we now feel that it is high time we begin to speak on this and let people understand that our role is not just to call a strike because our salaries have not been paid, our book and research have not been paid. No, we want to go beyond that. And that is why some of these calls are coming up.
Okay, finally, before I let you go, one of the key parts of this whole fight is, I just want to find out, how is the association planning to leverage your expertise, like you made mention, and then also your influence as educators to raise awareness among the public when it comes to, these community
how are we
people?
Planning to leverage
your expertise and your influence as educators to raise awareness, about this menace among the public?
We are going to visit those communities that will have this Galamsey and all of that going on. We'll increase awareness there based on the evidence that we have really come up with. We'll engage with the media to also raise awareness. So the evidence or the findings that we are going to come up with, we'll engage the media and present it to the entire nation. Then we'll also identify key groups. We'll do community engagements. We'll work with the traditional leaders. We'll work with what we call the community champions. We'll work with them, and then we would give them that education, that awareness. And we'll give them other ways by which they can ensure that, yes, when you are, we're not saying don't do the mining, but we'll say that don't destroy the environment. And there are better ways by which mining can be done without destroying the environment. And our people, we have got expertise. We have got the key people who can really provide that sort of education, that sort of awareness creation and all of that. And we are calling on the media. You are one key stakeholder that we are really going to work with. And we are calling on you to really support us do that.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much.
To get back to my other program.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time. We've actually been speaking with Professor Victor Mogre. He's the National Vice President of UTAG. We've been looking, at the calls coming from civil society organizations, of which UTAG is actually joined. Recently, they released a press statement that was 2 days ago, and they're not the only people. UTAG, Occupy Ghana, the Peasants Farmers Association, the Christian Council, and the Association of Mobile Money Agents. All these organizations and civil society groups have actually joined the call for government to actually boot up when it comes to the fight against the menace of Galamsey. You're still watching ABC in the morning. This has been the main discussion. We'll be heading off and to look at some politics on Politics Today. Well, today on Politics Today, we're actually looking at a very interesting poll, the National Opinion Poll. And this was actually recently released by Global Info Analytics. So we're actually going to be joined by a senior researcher, and he's going to take us through the poll that was recently conducted. This was actually conducted just 10th September. It was conducted between a time frame in September, but then it was released yesterday. So we're going to go through it. And all this, don't forget, is geared towards the December election. So we will definitely be joined on the line by Salam Insia. He happens to be a senior researcher with Global Info Analytics. He's going to take us through the recent poll that was actually conducted. Good morning, Salam. He's joined us via Zoom. Good morning, Salam. You're welcome to the show. Good morning, Salam. You're welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. And hello. Good morning. Can you hear me? Thanks for having me.
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, so for the recent poll, that was National Opinion Poll, you call it the 2024 general elections, or the telephone poll. So we actually want to quickly go through this today because this was released yesterday. I mean, looking at your methodology and the approach, the demographics that was used, and some of the key issues that you actually looked at in the poll.
Okay, thank you, and good morning to our viewers, and thanks for having me. Okay, so basically, we undertook the poll between 26th August and 7th September. And we sampled about 1,180 respondents. And the responses was like about 94% responded. Our margin of error is like almost 3%, that's 2.77 plus or minus. The sample frame, as in the how we selected the respondents, we used the 2020 register. Then per our sampling distribution, we had 32% of the sample had MPP affiliated voters, 30% had, and 30% of them had NDC, then 28% floating with 1% other parties and 9% not disclosed. The not disclosed are those who said they are not affiliated to any of the parties, so we put them in that column. On the gender, on the demographics, we had 34 for female, 66 for male. This one, I must say, is a bit of an outlier because we have more male than female, but we believe it wouldn't impact the poll because in our electoral system, basically people vote on party affiliation, not really gender. So it shouldn't be an issue, but we will find ways of correcting it. But I believe that even when we correct it, it wouldn't really affect the outcome of the assembly. Then on the age, we had 18 to 24, 12%, 25 to 34, 41%, and 30, we had 35 to 44%, then 12% for 45 to 54, then 55 to 64, 3%, then above 65, 2%. For the education demographic, we had 29% GHS, 33 SHS, 23 tertiary, and 15% do not have education. Then we had 91% were non-first-time voters and 9% were first-time voters. Employment status, we had 1% retired, students 6%, unemployed 10%, casual 4%, private 6%, government NGO 10%, and self-employed 52%. For the religion demographic, we have 71% Christianity, 26% Islam, 2% traditional, non-religion 1%. Then we also broke down the Christian demography. We have 23%, 70% Catholic, Presby 13%, Methodist 12%, then others 11%, Anglican 3%, and SDA 3%. Then on the Islamic demographic, the breakdown, Sunni Muslim, we have 57%, Tijaniya, we have 14%, Ahmadi, we have 13%, then the others had 11%, Shia, we had 5%. And our ethnic group, the demographic, we had Akan 56%, Mole Dagbani 14%, others 11%, Ewe 7%, Ga Dangbe 4%, Guan 3%, Gama 2%, Munde and all the others like 4%. Then party affiliation, as I stated earlier, we had MPP 31%, NDC 30%, floating voters 29%, not disclosed 9%, and the other parties 1%. Now on the issues, on the direction of the country, 20% said the country is moving in the right direction, 73% said it's not moving in the right direction, and 7% did not have any opinion. Then approval rating for the president, approval is 30%, disapproval is 63%, so that's a net disapproval rating of like 33%, which is quite high. Then no opinion, we have 7%. Then on performance and of MPP government, excellent, 6% said it was excellent, 28% said it was good or very good, and 53% said it was poor or very poor, 13% said average. Then state of corruption, 60% said it's getting worse, 17% said it's improving, 16% said no change, and 7% did not have any opinion. Then we asked government fight against corruption. Is government fighting against corruption? 33% said yes, 67% said no, and 10% did not have any opinion. So it basically correlates quite closely with the state of corruption as stated. Then standard of living, 20% said their standard of living has improved, 55% said it's worsened, 90% said it's unchanged, and 7% said they do not have any opinion. And we asked them, we followed up, was them how optimistic they are of how things will improve in the next 12 months. 45% said they are not sure. 25% said yes, things will improve. Then 30% said no, they don't think things will improve in the next 12 months. Then we asked confidence in the security services in the election. 70% are confident, 22% are not confident, and 8% do not have any opinion. Confidence in EC, 58% have confidence, 30% do not have confidence, and 12% do not have any opinion. Concern for electoral violence, 29% said they are extremely concerned, 12% said they are slightly concerned, 15% said somewhat concerned, 21% said moderately concerned, and 23% said not concerned at all. Jobs, and so this is basically trying to pull the individual, the party manifestos. 32% saw it favorably, 70% unfavorable, and 18% neutral. Then favorability for resetting Ghana, jobs, accountability, and prosperity by the NDC. So basically it's talking about trying to pull the NDC manifesto. 48% said favorable, 33% unfavorable, and 19% neutral. The favorability of the Great Transformational Plan, that's GTP for Alliance Movement, 11% favorable, 64% unfavorable, and 24% neutral. Each of the following has a greater influence on you if you decide to vote. So basically, the drivers for the December election. 54% said past performance of the parties, 53% said current economic situation. So basically, past performance and current economic situation are basically pulling the same if you account for the margin of error. Then credibility of the candidates, 39%, party manifesto, 20%, and the other reason, 18%. They asked, do you support the NDC's no academic fees for first-year students? That's the free L100 proposal that they are talking about. 54% say yes, 35% say no, and 11% do not have any opinion.
Okay, Salam, before you actually move on, I quickly want to ask, what actually informed the decision for these particular sectors that you were looking at?
As in the cross-tabs, the various issues you are asking?
Yes.
Okay, so when you are doing a poll, you want to get a sense of what the voter is thinking. You don't only ask the voter who is going to vote for. Sometimes some will even tell you they will not disclose. So from these other cross-tab, approval rating, performance of government, economy, and all that, that's how you can be able to triangulate to see what the voter is actually thinking at a particular time. So all these data is also important to try and correlate, to try also help the politicians and the government to also to set their policy or redirect their policy in terms of what the Ghanaian voters. So it's more like a comprehensive report for us to all gauge the sense of the voter, to know what they are thinking, what's needs to correct, what's going wrong, and how to deal with it.
But looking at the sample size, some would say that, is it a fair representation?
Yeah. There's a bit of fetish about sample size, but pollsters worldwide, I follow the US election polling quite a bit. Sample size is good. The bigger the sample size, the better. But I always say that a bigger sample size with a skewed weighting is worse than a smaller sample size with a very good weight. What am I saying? I'm saying that you can have, let's say, our register is like 18.26, right? 18.6 million voters. Now, let's say you are polling 100,000. We are polling a little under 2,000, right? If you poll and you poll, let's say, you are saying you sample, let's say, Muslims 40%, and Christians, let's say, 50%. That is a skewed sample. And it doesn't matter how large your sample size is, you are going to get it wrong. Now, we have an anecdotal evidence to show. Now, during the MPP delegates elections, we polled a far lower sample. Like ours was, if I'm not mistaken, by 2, 3, 4 times less than some other samples that was polled. But what we saw was that the internals of the other ones, they were skewing the samples. So they ended up being off by a whooping close to 10-15% for some of them. And we were very much within the margin of error of about 1.9% that we did. So the issue about sample size is good, but what pollsters or what researchers need to check is that, are you sampling the population correctly? If there are 70% Muslims, 70% Christians and about 25% Muslims, are you doing that? Accounts about 40-45%, are you doing that? So it's about the internals. It's about making sure your sample is representative and not necessarily your sample is just large. I don't know whether you get me.
I get you. So it should be representative, not just large. Looking at the polls and some of the figures you've listed, we have about 73% of the voters who actually believe that the country is headed in the wrong direction. I want to find out, did you actually find out from them what some of the specific issues or challenges that are driving this sentiment?
Oh, basically, we didn't drill down, but generally, when somebody says the economy is not good, what comes to mind is inflation, right? Because that's the person's standard of, that's what the person directly relates to. If maybe a year or two ago, something used to cost me like 10 cedis and it's now costing me 20, 30 cedis. Of course, if you ask the person, he'll tell you the economy is not good, right? So inflation comes with the cost of living in terms of food, transport, even school fees, parents, almost everything goes up once inflation goes up, especially inflation tracks with high crude oil prices. Once crude oil price goes up, transport goes up, food prices goes up, it impacts all other things.
That's okay. That's very true. Now, I quickly want to find out, the poll actually showed that while 70% of the voters trust security service, we had 77% of them that are still concerned about electoral violence. And, we have different factors that are contributing to this. But how do you think that security agencies should address this, and how should they take this percentage?
I always say that our major problem with election violence, threat of election violence, and nervousness about election violence is that the security forces and the powers that be do not play down the middle. They are not fair when it comes to dealing with various parties. What am I saying? Now, if an MPP activist infracts the election law or causes violence, it should be dealt the same way an NDC guy will be dealt with. Now, when that happens, everybody knows that I don't have the license to misbehave. It doesn't matter whether my party is in power or not. We should just play it down the middle. We should just call balls and stripes. We should not be biased. We should not discriminate. And once everybody sees that your misbehavior will not go unpunished, everybody will try and discipline himself. I believe that's, and it goes to the EC too. The EC should be seen to be playing. They to be seen to, and they have to be playing down the middle. They shouldn't be seen to be biased. Anytime I see ruling government more or less being appended to the EC, it always becomes a problem. Because once a ruling party is more or less speaking on behalf of the EC, it means some way, somehow, the EC is favoring them, or they think what the EC is doing is okay for them. The opposition is always against what they overreact to something, but it's always the case that when MPP in power, they more or less become an appendage to. So you ask yourself, why is this so? Because some way, somehow, the commissioners and the people in the EC do not seem to be seen to be playing fair. And that's one of the issues that we have to deal with if we need a peaceful nation. I mean, whatever happens, we want Ghana to be in one piece so that we move on with our lives. Things are already difficult and we don't want anything that will worsen our situation.
Well, that's very, very true. I mean, per the polls that you said, the polls actually show that first-time voters and floating voters, I mean, per your results that you brought, are leaning more towards John Dramani Mahama. And basically, someone is wondering, what does this then suggest about the MPP's, challenge in capturing the crucial voter base?
MPP's challenge is like 2-3-pronged. Now, MPP is one, losing its support base. Now, we did some matching with Nana voters in 2020 and realized that Vice President Bawumia is getting about 60-70%, only 60 and 70%. The others are going to JM and Alan and Cheddar. So that's one side of the MPP's bleeding voters at their base. Two, they are performing worse with floating voters, because anytime a floating voter is disgruntled, anytime things are not going well in the economy or they feel that things are not being run as they should, the government always takes the blame. The floating voter always has a very much higher expectation of how the governance should be run. So anytime there are issues like inflation, the debt exchange that's caused people to be uncertain about their investments and all that, that will mean that the government will take the blame. So then people's problem is they are struggling to keep their base, and they're also losing floating voters to JM, Alan and Cheddar, but more to JM.
So then in this case, they have to do...
Whilst at the same time, JM is keeping almost about north of 95% of his supporters that voted for him in 2020.
Okay, so in this case, MPP has to do better when it comes to retaining their supporters.
Yes, that's the first thing. Yes, once the gap between MPP and NDC in terms of their support base is close to 10%. Now, once they're able to close that, the election will become close. Otherwise, it wouldn't.
Okay.
Because that's like 35% of, let's say, 10%, right? Mm-hmm. The floating voters are like 25, 28%. That's not much. I mean, of course, that's not much compared to their base. If you are losing your base, also losing floating voters, it means you are losing a lot.
That's true.
That means that the gap is increasing, yes.
That's true. Okay, so now if we're looking at the likelihood of, voter mind changes, they change in their minds. Now, you had about 81% of voters unlikely to change their minds. And so one thing political parties will probably get the report and be like, okay, how should they approach the remaining that are undecided and then those that are floating?
Well, they should go further and find out why those people are undecided, right? People are undecided. I surmise that those who are undecided could be disgruntled MPP voters, okay, and also floating voters who are generally disgruntled with the electoral system. Floating voters can easily be disgruntled with the electoral system because some way, somehow, they feel that these two parties, when they come, they say this, after some time, they do the same thing. So that can easily cause people to actually check out of the electoral system. But I suppose that some of the undecided will be MPP leaning floating voters, MPP call floating voters, and actually call floating voters themselves. So basically, you can target them by a policy. You see, when you propose a policy, the proposal is good, but what is better is providing solid way of implementing that could convince people that this one is not mere political talk. It's a governing document that you really hope to realistically stick by it.
Okay, and on party loyalty shifts, the poll actually indicated that 12% of MPP voters would actually vote for John Dramani Mahama if the election is actually held today. Now, what are some of the factors that are contributing to the shift in party loyalty?
Okay, basically the shift, the thing is that MPP normally attracts a lot of the middle class, okay? The middle class, it's not for nothing that the theory or the anecdotal evidence that MPP wins mostly at the universities, even in gold, college and all that. They are the middle class, okay? It means that a policy like a debt exchange will affect them, will cause them to be disgruntled. Some of them will not turn out to vote. Some of them will be so disgruntled and upset that they will decide to take out their government by voting for their main opposition, which is their main opponent, which is JM. Okay, so I think something like a policy that did not favor them, and I can easily say that because I talk to a lot of people. My peers who are MPP people who are not voting, who are refusing to vote. Some are refusing to vote. Some are saying they'll vote JM. Okay, and they have been disgruntled by the economy generally, and specifically by the debt exchange. Now, with the middle class, because they are influential people, they also influence people they support. So if, for instance, myself, I support my brothers and my sisters, my cousins and all that in school and all that, and their agent has impacted me so much that I can't support them as much as I do, they will begin to find out why, and if I tell them, it will also cause them to be disgruntled. So I think that the disgruntlement at the base of MPPs is causing this kind of issue for them.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. That was Salam Ntia. He happens to be a senior researcher with Global Info Analytics. We're looking at their recent poll that was conducted. It was actually released yesterday. And we're going through some of the key parts and some of the things that it touched on. Now, we actually, before I let you go, quickly, when it comes to the economy, Salam, I want to find out, we realized that when it comes to economy and jobs, these were some of the key things that were highlighted. Well, unfortunately, we would have to get Salam back another time, but you're still watching ABC in the morning. It's been nothing short of an interesting show here. Very educative, very insightful. If you missed any part of it, please don't forget to go to our YouTube and then just go and catch everything, because you definitely want to be making informed decisions outside over there. Well, we'll definitely bring in the show to a close. We've looked at so many things and had different sectors for today. The fight against Galamsey, having UTAG and different civil society organizations actually join the call for government to actually step up when it comes to the fight against Galamsey. We also looked at, the chaos that took place in Wale Wale regarding the NPP primaries, and also with the incumbent saying that she's actually withdrawn from the whole thing. So it's just been nothing short of interesting. We also heard from you on Ghana Speaks, where we actually had Samuel go straight. He was at Ayawaso West Wogon, and he engaged with what the people had to say, got them to give their performance, on the assessment on the performance of their MPs. And it's just been back and forth, back and forth. We also got to hear business fakes, where we got to hear that, look, if you're going to get a hamper, please, this December, whoever you're planning to give a hamper to, everything in that basket must be made in Ghana. Every single thing. Don't put foreign tea, foreign biscuits. Those of you that like doing, yes, you all love Danish biscuits, but please, if you're going to get Danish biscuits, just look. We have made in Ghana biscuits that are healthy, that are beautifully packaged. The branding is on point and the taste is good. So please look for that. We're all trying to find a way to ensure that the country is developing economically. We brought you trends, we brought you sports. So we've given you everything you need to make your day a wonderful one. Thank you so much for making time to stay here with us. It's been insightful from morning till now. My name is Epifania Chokotogligui. Do enjoy the rest of your day. We'll come your way same time tomorrow morning.